Hello there everybody and welcome to the stream. I hope you're all doing well. If you're wondering why I'm missing my tinfoil hat, don't worry, it will be coming. I hope you've all been well. I'm sorry I missed out on the Wednesday night stream. I wasn't very well. I'm still not, I wouldn't say 100% still, I'd say about 95% maybe. We've got 7 people in at the minute. I'd like to say hello to each and every one of you. But first, I'd like to introduce Mark. You may have seen him before on my other streams. Would you like to say hello, Mark, from Centroid Aerial Images?
Yes, absolutely. Welcome, everybody, and thanks again for joining the show. I've had a blast and glad to be here and be put on the spot with some conspiracies I've never heard of before.
Yes. And we're also joined by Kieran from Abandoned City Camo Crew. So do you want to say a little hello and a bit about your channel, mate?
Hello, everyone. I hope you're well. It's waiting to see what we do. It's what we've been doing today and all weekend, and we've come back quite hurt. It's a little bit of urban exploring and tunnels and caves and bunkers and stuff like that, basically. That's good enough for you people? Yeah.
Nice. Now, Mark's reassured me that he does have a kick-ass hat on the go, and so do I. I'm just sort of waiting a minute before I put it on because it weighs a ton, and I had it on for about 5 minutes before the stream, and essentially I was already sweating quite a lot, and it's probably going to give me neck ache, so you can understand why I'm just holding off wearing it for now, okay? Just until we get into the conspiracy theories. Yes. I'm just going to hold off wearing it because it's right next to me. I'll give you a quick glimpse. I mean, this is just a quick glimpse of how massive this hat is. Yeah. I'm just going to say hello to everybody in the chat. So we've got FSV in, my young apprentice Finley. Centroid is in the chat, so make sure you check him out. 8-Bit Reactor, I hope you're doing well, buddy. We've got What the Paranormal in. As far as I know, everybody now has a blue wrench, by the way. Tommy Robinson News, great to see you, buddy. I hope you're doing well too. Eagle VP's in the chat. Now, we went on a day trip on Thursday. It was really, really good. Eagle had a little snooze on the way home, which he didn't like me talking about. Abandoned City Camo Crew, that's Kieran, who's on the stream with us. So if you see him in the chat, make sure you check him out. Lauren Aim is in. That's my my girlfriend who sat just off camera, off over here. Darwin Digital, I hope you're doing very, very well. Great to see you all. Thanks for stopping by. And yeah, essentially we're going to be talking about all sorts of conspiracy theories, you know, like we do. That's all good. And, you know, I always reinforce the message that, you know, check everybody's channels out. You know, don't scrimp on the love. Check everybody out. If you like what you see, subscribe to them, you know. It's completely optional, but if you like what you see, this is how we all grow. It's how we all do better on YouTube. Okay? So, before we start then, Kieran, do you have much knowledge or background in any types of conspiracy theories?
Well, Steve, as you well know,
yeah,
quite a bit. I could be what you call as your local city nutter on the, you know, things like the fluoride, the pineal gland, the aspartame, the ascoplane. You know, you ask me, like RFDI chips, you know what I mean? The spine on your TVs, your Samsungs, the chemtrails. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah. If you feel like you want to talk about anything like that, feel free, mate. Really, because that's what this stream is all about. I have a general sort of framework of a few sort of topics and little bits of information that I have just on my side, you know, just that I'll look through just to keep a general sort of narrative or framework on the go. You know how it is, you know what I mean? Mark knows how it is anyway. I can pluck conspiracy theories out of thin air, can't I?
Yep.
Interesting ones anyway. So
both going to be good after this, mate.
Yeah, it's all good. So remember to post any pictures of your tinfoil hats. The link is above my window there. On Facebook, search AVUK, the way it's spelt there, or search me on Twitter at views_UK. Send your pictures in. Let me know in the chat if you've sent a picture, because otherwise I'm not going to be checking, basically. And then essentially I'll check, and then, you know, you might win by default if you're the only person who actually sends in a picture. And essentially that just means your channel will just keep getting shouted out every 5 or 10 minutes, you know, check you out and all that lot. That's all good. The Haunted Explorers just came in. I hope you're well, buddy. I really do. Great to see you. So before we get into the conspiracies, then, Mark, would you like to give us a little showing of this hat that you've got on the go?
FSV has pointed out that a little bit of it was showing a second ago. I was a bit inspired looking back, and again, being a math teacher, I said, let me bring some maths into this. And I recall from the 80s, early 90s, there was a cult here in the States where they wore pyramids because of the power of the pyramid. And I didn't want to cheese out and just make a pyramid, so I went full dodecahedron on this thing.
Okay.
So the trick isn't so much. The good thing is it's not going to be as hot as yours, and I can drink my beer through it, so I'll have no problem there. But the trick is going to be having this thing stay on the whole time.
Okay.
So let me see if I can get this monstrosity on my head and get it oriented the way it should be. There we go. There we go.
Nice.
Let's see. Does that work?
Nice. That is awesome, man. That has a full-on Faraday cage effect, doesn't it? That is awesome. I don't know if I want to call
it a hat or not, but I figured, you know, hey.
It's definitely a headpiece.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It is what it is, but I hate to say it, you've tapped into something inside of me, Steve, with this. I think I compete with myself more than anything else.
Yeah.
And every time I have to raise the bar, so I figured, and true to nature, all tinfoil, there's nothing else that's holding itself together right now.
And the nickname for this one is the dodecahedron.
That's what's up.
I wanted to go with the name the Crystal Maze. But it's all right. Reminds me of the final bit of the Crystal Maze where they're getting that big glass crystal.
You can call it whatever you want.
Yeah. No, the dodecahedron's even better. You know, that's all good. We've got a few new people in since the stream started. We've got From Zero to Homestead in. We've got EBRFPV. Great to see you. I already shouted out Haunted Explorers. James Ward's in as well. Make sure, you know, check out everybody's channels. Just be generally nice, you know, in the chat. I know you all are anyway. Proper FPV, great to see you, mate. Now, who wants to see my hat? Okay, so here it goes, and I'm gonna wear this for as long as it's actually comfortable because this hat is huge, and it is.
Don't you dare take that thing off.
And it is solid tinfoil. It weighs a ton. Here is my hat.
Nanu.
He's
more Colin Orson.
There we go. There's my hat. Okay, and it's even got a little. You see, it's as big as my arm. Look, I can only just reach the top of this thing. Yeah, and it's even got a propeller on the top. You know, just in case you need a quick escape. You know, in case the aliens actually show up, you can just propeller away. You know what I mean? That's the idea. I've been at this all day, and a lot of tinfoil has been used on this, and it weighs a ton. Look, that is solid tinfoil all the way. And I know it looks ridiculous, but this provides the most optimum insulation against the alien mine rays. So that's all good. Hasdak, I hope you're well, buddy. Great to see you. You know, I'm going to throw a blue wrench your way, mate. I've seen you about a few places. I hope you're doing very well. Okay.
Eagle VP says, all bow to the Emperor.
Yeah. Yeah. This is to house the knowledge. It keeps it all safe.
To house all the conspiracy knowledge.
Yeah. The conspiracy master is now in attendance. Honestly, look, if I try and press on this, look, I'm pressing in on that. That is solid.
Don't make me press on mine.
Solid
It'll
tinfoil.
collapse.
It is very heavy.
We
If I
boil
tilt my
down.
head back like that, it literally hurts my neck. It's that heavy. So I hope you can appreciate the effort that's gone into the hat and into Centroid's headpiece, right? Because that is very, very impressive. If I had the time, I would have photoshopped your tinfoil hat in, Kieran, but I didn't have time for that, unfortunately, but that's all good. Yeah, my dog's invading the stream. Yes, all good.
If I read Lauren Amy's icons or her emojis, she's got a face palm, and then followed by 3 smiley faces that are crying. Yeah, I feel that way too. If I'm interpreting that correctly.
I know. You just sort of have to think to yourself sometimes, don't you? Like, what am I doing with my life? You know.
But Steve, I got to say, you pointed this out, and I didn't realize it was working. You'll see in a second. This works perfectly.
Yeah. Look at that. Look, it's got a perfect beer hole. You know.
I've got to say, yeah, right. Eagle's popped up, and I've seen it in the messages. Yeah, and it says the only sane one in the stream, the abandoned city camera crew explorers. Eagle. No, I think these two are more sane than me. Wait till you really get to know me.
I was gonna say, oh my God, if he's the same one, what does that make us?
Yeah, man. Hello, Jeanette Pickering. I hope you're well. Jeanette lives in Sheffield. I live in Grimsby, and we all went over to Jeanette and Chris's house on Thursday for a big meet-up. It was very, very good. Thanks for the lemon drizzle. You know I was going to bring it up. It is awesome. What have you got on your head, Jeanette Pickering? Just for you, I'll explain it again. Mark from Centroid is wearing his latest design, which is called the dodecahedron, which provides all the benefits of a tinfoil hat without the lack of ventilation to the brain, basically. And mine is, I don't know what to call mine. What do you reckon we should call mine?
I want to call it Jiffy Pop. To be honest with you,
Jiffy
I swear.
Pop.
I just want to tear into that and see if there's popcorn cooking in there.
That's not grand enough. It needs to be called. It needs to be called the Hive Mind.
The Hive Mind, all right. I gotta say, Eagle VP's got something too. You know, something that has to do with the Emperor. You're wearing, it's got to be something grand like that. So
yeah, as the stream goes on, we'll keep bouncing names around for this, or in the chat if you can come up with something really, really good, then yeah, essentially that will be the name of it. That's all good.
Proper says I need window panels. I actually was going to plan on putting foil in certain spots on every other one, but I had to tap into the family foil. I ran out of the 2 rolls I bought, and I think the missus would have been upset if I started wasting our family supply of foil. So I had to cut it short. So good idea, though.
Yeah, man. Okie dokie. So I think I've said hello to everybody in the chat. That's all good. Proper FPV says the reason the Egyptians had the bowling pin shape and the helmet shape was to represent the 2 different dynasties who combined. Thanks for that information, mate. This is what I mean. I learn stuff as well while doing these streams, which is what I really, really enjoy. You know, it all feeds in to the hive mind. You know what I mean? All that information. That's all good. So like I say, if you can come up with a good name for this hat, something very grand, okay, something very good, you know, because this is an installation, you know what I mean? It's not just a hat, this.
I wouldn't be wearing that in any lightning storms, I'll tell you that.
No, definitely not.
Something like Monument or something.
Yeah, but hello, Pixie's channel, Chris. Are you doing all right, buddy? It says Steve looks like he's ready not just to fly a drone, but fly the magic carpet with that thing on his head. Yeah, that's all good. Jeanette Pickering, Centroid looks like he had an operation.
Oh, You know, that's a great idea for next week. I'm gonna get the dog collar, you know, the thing that looks like the satellite dish.
Yeah.
Put it around my neck next time. So I can't lift my bits behind me.
Yeah. So instead of blocking the signals, you'll be someone who's transmitting them out.
Or receiving them wholeheartedly. Please.
Funneling them in.
Yeah. Mad.
Parabolically. I nearly said that wrong. Okay. PM's Adventure Vlogs, I hope you're well. Bet you could get Sky Sports on that thing. Yeah.
I get a kick out of this. They're not laughing with us, Steve. They're laughing at us. But I knew about that.
Jeez. That's all right. PM's Adventure Vlogs, you've just got a blue wrench. Everyone make sure to check out my guests tonight, their channels. If you don't see them in the chat, I have linked their channels in the little text box down below. So that would be Centroid and Abandoned City Camo Crew. I've linked them all properly and whatnot. Make sure you check them out. Check everybody else out as well. This is I don't name it any kind of support stream or anything like that, but supporting other people's channels is highly recommended, highly encouraged. You know how it goes. That's how we get better. That's how we grow and meet new people. It says here from Pixie. Mark, no, I get Sky Sports. No, Mark gets Sky Sports and I get BBC One.
Which one's better?
I don't know. I'm not a big fan of sports. So
neither am I, but I'm just wondering which one would require a better signal.
Yeah. Crags, I hope you're doing well, buddy. Great to see you. Crags is sort of like an in-house guest, essentially, but he's got to be up for work in the morning, I believe, on a quick turnaround, so he can't join us tonight. But that is all good. Much appreciated.
So you've got me to fill in instead.
What's that?
So you got me to fill in instead.
Yeah. So we roped in Kieran from Abandoned City Camo Crew. How's that? Yeah.
Got back the 200-mile journey exploring down tunnels and everything.
And then look, you've washed up on my channel. Right.
When you should say that, it was Dover.
Yeah, blooming heck. Hello, TJ Smith. I hope you're well, buddy. That's all good. I've seen you about and everything. I know I'm sub to you from the Blue Wrench Mob on Facebook. Make sure you check that out. Search on Facebook for the Blue Wrench Mob. A great place to meet other YouTubers, all like-minded, all supporting. And the post streams, links to videos, things like that. It's a great place to get noticed. The Blue Wrench Mob you need to look for on Facebook and join their group. I'm on there. I've been on there a long time. Since there was about 40 people in, I believe, and I think it's approaching 150 maybe or more now. So that is all good. Make sure you get yourself on there because it's a great place to meet people. Just shouting that out real quick. That's all cool. Yeah, Pixie's channel says, please like and share the stream. Please do on all your social media and whatnot. Shout me out. That's all good. Shout me out. Shout me out. All good.
Hey, Steve.
Yeah?
Oh, you said shout me out, so I was going, Steve. I'm joking.
Yeah, that's all good. Yeah. PM's Adventure Vlog says, is that Pusa Studios? No, it's not Pusa Studios. It was the founder is Brandon from Psycho Ghost Trackers. So essentially, yeah, that's who founded it. And quite good friends with him. I've been a guest on the Psycho Ghost Trackers panel a few times. Great bunch of guys on there. Honestly, you can't go wrong knowing them guys. That's all good. Okay. I am just having a quick look through some of these conspiracies, sort of getting an idea of what I want to talk about. Hello, Barrow Boy Woods. I hope you're doing well, buddy. I'm just going to move this over because I have a lot of sort of tabs open. Just going to have a little sneaky peek at what's going on here. Man, my brain is cooking already. There is no ventilation in this. Aerial Landscapes, I hope you're well, dude. That's it. The blue wrenches are flying out tonight. That's all good. Everybody who comes in who has a blue wrench, you have my absolute trust. Okay. That's it. Remember, check everybody out. I keep repeating myself on that. It's a good way to start a stream. You know, just keep letting everybody know who's coming in for the beginning. Check everybody out and everything. And remember, if you want to make a tinfoil hat, above me, Facebook link and Twitter link to send pictures to. That's all good. And then the best one will get regular channel shouts. Okay. Yeah, and for the sake of you know, a pound or $1 worth of tinfoil, you know, and just you're only limited by your own creativity. So, and it goes to show.
I only spent that.
Yeah. No, I spent about £4 in tinfoil on this. Yeah. PD Tech, I hope you're doing well, dude. He says these tinfoil hats keep getting better every week. I'm impressed. Now, this is a continuation of last week's work. So essentially, yeah, this is the same hat as was seen last week. Only I've had enough time to really, you know, put the effort in on it. So I hope you can appreciate just how hot my head is and how heavy this thing is, because it is solid tin foil. Okay, it's not paper or anything. It is just solid metal, right?
FSV Finn Skyview says you look like Megamind.
Yeah, I know, yeah. Proper FPV. Time to buy stock in aluminium foil. Yeah, I think I'm going to have to, the way I'm getting through it.
Well, can we start with that conspiracy that you've actually started insider trading and representing foil companies just for the stream?
Because I know I'll get a return on my purchases. That's why.
Yes, I think that's our first conspiracy.
Yeah. 89 Mattel. I hope you're doing well, buddy. For everybody who's in, you know, please remember to hit the like button on there. You know, really helps me out and much appreciated. And all that gumph, you know. Okay, so I think it's about time then to start on our first conspiracy of the night. And I'm gonna pluck a random one at the minute out of the hat. I've just been having a little look and I've just picked one that is random. And that is Obama is intentionally spreading Ebola, right? So I'm going to give, I think this article is slightly out of date, but I don't really care because it still might have happened. This is the breakdown of it, and I'm reading from an article on LolWhat, which up until today I've never heard of, but I am going to post the link in the chat in case you want to check the article out, because some of our topics will be read directly from here, so credit where credit's due. So according to the conspiracy theory website InfoWars, Obama is perpetrating the conditions for a major Ebola outbreak by opening the southern borders and allowing infected citizens back into the country. They believe that once the disease spreads beyond control, groups such as FEMA, the CDC and Northcom will come in and start taking away people's guns. This plan is only somewhat less absurd than Obama building a giant magnet to collect all of the guns in America. So I think it is slightly like a parody website, but I don't really care. Okay, then we'll start with Kieran then, seeing as this will be his first introduction to his thoughts on a conspiracy. What do you reckon, Kieran? Do you reckon there's any kind of truth to this, and do you have anything to maybe add to it?
Yeah, first of all, Alex Jones, InfoWars. Know quite a lot about Alex Jones. Government shill, by the way, for the what you could say the New World Order and the elitists. What do you want to know? Because half of this is sort of true and half of it's not. It's got nothing to do with the southern borders. They tried releasing Ebola around the world and let it spread around the world. So it would spread everywhere and it would hopefully depopulate the New World Order and the Agenda 2130 plan, and it was like idea was to take out a lot of people all the way around the world. Come to letting people through the border thing, that was just Alex Jones doing his normal thing and trying to rally every American up because the Mexico borders are a very hot subject. So you put fact with fiction, and you've got a really good story.
Nice. Thanks for your input on that, mate. That was spot on. Mark, what's your thoughts on this, mate? Do you have anything to add or comment on what Kieran just said?
No, I'm just kidding.
No, no, you just got to stare blankly into the camera and just go.
I can't pull Craig's off. No, I do have to add. We've had discussions about this topic. Yeah, we've had discussions about this topic before. Is it plausible that governments put stuff like this out there? I'd say yes. I would say that I would doubt Obama would do that, but I don't know the man personally, so I don't know. But yeah, it's plausible that governments will do that. I mean, there's all kinds of science and suggesting that throughout the ages, they've had a culling or whatever, where in order to keep the species healthy, you have to lose a certain population. Because we have the claim is we have overpopulated the earth, and if we don't, and we're taxing its resources, if we don't do something to control the population, then we will doom the species. That's the theory. I'm not saying that's what I believe. So is it possible that they're experimenting with ways of thinning out the herd, so to speak? It's plausible, but I don't know if it's an Obama thing. I think that's any government thing, to be honest with you.
Yeah, there does seem to be a lot of agendas, and I have brought up Codex Alimentarius in the past. If you search that, I'm going to write in the chat in 1 second for you to take a look at for yourself. I'm just going to write that in because the spelling is a little bit crazy on this. So if you wanted to look up that, Codex Alimentarius, that is an actual document backed by the World Health Organization, and essentially that does actually set out plans for world depopulation, essentially, and that already came into effect as well, and that's an official document. So God knows what goes on in secret to try and bump off a load of the working class, basically. Unknown. So do you have any more to add, Kieran, from what we've just been talking about?
Yeah, right. Well, it's if you believe it all, it's all to do with like the vaccines, going back to Microsoft and Bill Gates and everything like that. It's all to do with the plan with the Rothschilds, the New World Order, the elite, and things like that. Is it real? Is it not? I don't necessarily blame it down to one person, one government, one thing like that. Maybe the global elitist, and they've done things like this before on troops and things like that. Who's to say they're not doing it again?
Yeah, man. Okay, Mark, final thoughts, mate, before we move on.
Yeah, I just got a copyright hit here on YouTube chat. Craig's just informed me that he's copyrighted no.
All right.
And I'm trying to confirm to him that I actually cite him every time I try it, which unsuccessfully, of course. But no, I really don't have much to say other than what I've already mentioned. So
hey, Crags, watch this, mate. I'm gonna get a copyright strike. You watch. No. There we go. Got you. There we go. Okay, then let's move on to the next one. But wait, real quick before I do, I am forgetting my manners. Hello, Elena Ria Benina. I hope I've said that right. Great to see you.
Elena's good. Comes in and out, chats with us.
Oh yeah, that's cool. I've just thrown a blue wrench in there. Great to see you again. I have seen you about. At the heel, Stephanie, I hope you're doing very well. Great to see you. We've got HSFL Paranormal in the house. How's it going, mate? First time in my stream, instantly, mate, on that blue wrench. You know what I mean? I've just thrown it right at you there. HSFL Paranormal. I've been a guest on the stream twice, I believe. Does great streams. Call in, talk about your own spooky stories. And he does like late night scary story readings. And he's very active in the community as well. Great dude. Can't fault him. Absolutely great channel as well. So, you know how it goes. I shout people out, check the channels, we all grow. And we all get to meet new people while hopefully learning something new. Not only about conspiracies, but about, buying shares in tinfoil, essentially. So, that's all good. So, next up, it's one that Kieran did actually mention, so I'm going to go to that now because I know that he's probably going to have quite a lot to say about it, and that is chemtrails. right? And real quick on the just a quick rundown. In 1996, a conspiracy theory surrounding the trails left behind by aircraft began to circulate. The theories claim that these chemtrails are actually harmful chemicals planned to make humans less intelligent, weaker or less healthy. The Air Force, however, continues to deny these claims. Right, so I'm going to throw this straight at Kieran, mate. You tell us whatever you know, whatever you want to share with us, mate.
Right, starters. If you're going to have a wedding or you're going to have a party, yeah? If you're having a wedding, you're going to have a party, you can basically hire a trying to speak properly here. A cloud seeding firm, so you can have better weather and stuff like that. And basically, the way it works is they can go up in the air and they can make it sometimes sunny, sometimes rain, depending by putting certain things in the air. The military do this with their aircraft, the military, for certain conditions in warfare, as much as they can. With the chemtrail conspiracy, the way I look at it is chemtrails disappear after a while. These chemtrails, and I've spent a lot of time looking at these chemtrails. I've even on a page about this with some people as well, sort of as an admin. And I've got photographs and loads and loads and loads of stuff, loads of films. And when you look at so-called chemtrail, it goes on for miles or so. Yeah, and you look at it and watch it spread. Put a camera, and I say this to most of you: get this in your head, go out, film it, and film it over a time lapse of a matter of hours. Yeah, and you will see that chemtrail turns into like a sheet cloud, and it finally blocks out the sun. Bit weird, if you ask me. Yet again, we all think these people won't do anything to us, but just remember, as all we are to them, yeah, our slave worker force, yeah.
Yep. 1 second, please. We do seem to be having some technical difficulties. I did just lose the call. I'm going to try and rejoin that real quick. That's cool. 1 second, please. I'm going to rejoin that. Hopefully all is well still. Hello? These guys still there?
Hello.
Yeah.
You're back.
Yeah, that's cool. Now, 1 second, because I can't quite work out, because Mark's frozen on the stream now. 1 second. I was kicked out the call for some reason. I'm going to try and sort that out real quick. I'm just looking for potentially where that is, because this is all very, very sort of confusing. There we go.
So I've not touched nothing, mate. I'm just sitting there doing nothing. I haven't touched anything.
Yeah, that's cool anyway. It's all good. I'm just trying to change that out. I can't seem to get Centroid's Skype thingy back on. Just move your head from side to side real quick, mate.
I'm spinning a bit. Can you hear me at least?
Yeah, I can hear you, mate, but even on the Skype call...
There he is.
Yeah, okay. Let me just try and sort that back out. I was kicked out the call, you see, so I'm just trying to sort it out, and I can't seem to make that happen. So, yeah, it looks like everybody's frozen but me, but that's all good. And I'm happy to carry on if you guys are.
Oh, yeah, keep going. Keep going. This means I can take my hat off, right?
No!
Hey, no, I see my hat on the screen. That's still on the screen.
Yeah, yeah, sorry to cut you off, Kieran. I was kicked out of the Skype call there. What was you saying, mate? Kieran?
No.
Kieran? Kieran? We've lost Kieran. And he was on a roll there as well.
Yes, he was. He was going. He was doing brilliant.
I don't even know where I got up to, mate.
There
Hello?
I hear him.
Yes, we can hear you, mate. We can hear you.
Hello?
Hello? Can you hear us, mate? Kieran? What is this?
Right, let's see what's going on here.
Kieran, can you hear us, mate?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah.
Yeah, I could hear everything there. You two sounded like Daleks for a minute there.
Okay,
I could hear sort of everything. I could hear Centroid saying, I could see me and you, Kieran. I could see you saying freeze, Steve. And I was just having a laugh here because I didn't actually touch my phone until just now. So I'm carefully going to put it back. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, mate. It's all good.
Right.
Yeah.
There you go. See, I was thinking he's going to think I've touched my phone. I haven't touched nothing. I was just laughing at you two in one way, but if you know what I mean. Not laughing, but thinking, oh dear.
Yep, it's all good. Okay, that's all.
Do you
cool.
think they're trying to tell us something?
I don't know, mate. Maybe the NSA's found that Windows 7 backdoor into my PC. You know, the one that's built into every Windows since Windows 7.
Steve, you shouldn't say that.
Why?
Yeah.
What else do I do for a living?
What's that, mate?
Your computer's my computer.
Yeah, maybe the NSA have took an interest and we're now being observed. They've just snuck in through the built-in backdoor that they work alongside Microsoft to create in every Windows since Windows 7, if you didn't know that. So if they want to get in your PC, you wouldn't even know there was there.
And this is, we weren't even going to talk about that, but this is a real conspiracy theory, and it's real.
1 second, please.
Oh, this is quite cool. Centroid.
Right. Yeah, sorry, my missus was just asking me something. Okay. So you were saying about chemtrails, Kieran, sorry.
Yes.
Yeah.
Where did it get to?
I don't know, mate. Start again if you like.
Yeah, go for it, man.
Yeah, go on.
You
You was
taught
on a
me
roll,
something.
mate. You was on a roll.
Right. Okay, here we go. All right. If you want a wedding, if you want something like a birthday, something like that, you can hit up many companies around the world and they will make your perfect day as fine as they can be. They will make and try and ensure it will not rain, or they will try and make sure it will shine. The way they do this is through seed clouding. They pay a lot of money for this. Loads of people doing around the world. They try and make your day the best as possible. There are countries around the world and companies around the world will pay these people to seed cloud for crops and water and other stuff like that. You can look at these patents on the US patent government list, usually owned by some Rothschild or something like that. But you check these out, Google it, do your proper researches, and you will find a pattern and a trail to go back. Also, right, like I've done myself, I said today, if anyone heard it, more so admin on one of these type pages, you know what I mean, for try fact and fiction of it. I try to put up as much fact I can and as much fiction as I can so people can work out and debunk. It's what you do. You put up your camera. You look at one of these chemtrails. Yeah, a contrail will disappear a few hundred meters behind a plane. A chemtrail stays behind it, and it's like a cotton wisp coming out the end of it. And it carries on for miles and miles and miles. Get your camera, set it up, time lapse or film it all the way through. Watch this thing, be a chemtrail or contrail, if you want to call it yourself, and watch it. Go like that and slowly spread out from side to side, all the way across. And it turns into a sheet cloud, and it goes grey, and it blocks out the sun, or depending on what they want to do, it will rain. There you go, lads.
Yeah, and that technology, cloud seeding technology, has been around since the 1950s, by the way. And that is documented. US Air Force. I've seen the document where they've reported a success on actually seeding clouds and making it rain, essentially, in the 1950s, using aeroplanes and different aerosols in the atmosphere. So, yeah, it's very, very plausible that not only do they still do it, but they've improved the techniques as well. But obviously the sort of consensus on the chemtrails is that it's full of poisonous chemicals, essentially, which then obviously float down from the atmosphere and people are breathing them in, gets into food supplies as well, and generally dumbs the population and makes them sick.
Lithium, aluminium, beryllium, and all that stuff. Yeah,
strontium, barium, are some of the names of chemicals and elements that come up.
Apparently, also antidepressants and minor LSDs and things like that to make sure everyone's always in psychoactivity states in the head, in the street. You know what I mean? To make everyone happy or sad or psychotic and mood swings. So everybody goes to the doctors, gets all these pills, and it keeps the pharmaceutical companies and everything like that going on. Blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, man. So, Mark, we have discussed this on a previous stream. What do you reckon so far, mate, about what we're talking about?
Oh, I think it's more than plausible. I'm leaning towards an absolute yes, absolutely. Yeah, I think since they've been doing it since, what did you say, the 50s?
Hmm.
Yeah, that technology's out there. I mean, they've been studying weather patterns and the chemical composition of clouds and what chemicals do and how things react. So yeah, I'm all in on this one.
The
Mm.
person who holds the weather holds the world.
Hmm. Exactly. Weather and information. You got those two things, you're in control.
That's it. Yep.
Yeah, and obviously this does link to harp as well, which we've talked about. Do you know anything about that, Kieran?
Most certainly do.
Yeah.
Right.
Go on then.
The harp aurora. Everyone thinks, and they turn around and say, "Yes, well, I know about harp. I know about harp. It's in Alaska. Blah 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 blah." Right. The place in Alaska shut down a very very long time ago. Right. There's an island, Antarctica. There's a thing. If you go and look at a guy called BP Earthwatch, this guy does his stuff, knows his stuff, researches his stuff really well. And there's other people. They watch the anomalies in the weather and how these microwave patterns fan out from the Antarctica. They fan out from certain points around the world where harp is meant to be. There's a few stations around the world because obviously most countries now have got this weather weapon, blah 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 blah, and they've all this weather we're meant to be having at the minute, all these doomsday weather as they call it, to make all the Bible people and all the doomsdayers and all naysayers all come against each other, go together. So what they're trying to do is go by the Bible, go by the conspiracy theorists, go by the 2012 apocalypse stuff, yeah, and make it all happen, make you all think it's all a bit nuts and crazy and stuff like that. They're all fighting with these weapons at the minute, and there is a map which shows you these sort of like a Wi-Fi signal going out across the patterns of the clouds around the world, and these stem from places what are meant to be known to have these heart machines and everything around them. Putin is meant to have used it against us. We're meant to use it against them. You know what I mean? And all this blah blah blah, as you say. But HARP is meant to be to study electrical auroras and stuff like that. But when you watch these things in operation, they fire so much electricity bolts up into the air. Where's it all going? You know what I mean? It's not just to study certain things. It's run by the US Air Force and stuff like that. It was under a secret government program at one point. So if it is what you say harmless, why the hell was it top secret?
Mm. Yes, indeed. Now, another way of doing that, and the HARP array is essentially loads of like high amplitude like radio towers, and essentially one of the main concepts of what it can do is actually fire a direct sort of direct energy beam up at the stratosphere and make it sort of balloon outwards. So then in a way you can sort of create natural disasters around the world using weather as well. So that is like another possible use of it. So a few people have blamed big natural disasters on it, including hurricanes, tsunamis, all kinds of nefarious sort of weather events, which are sort of like catastrophic beyond what the world's seen before, essentially. Do you reckon there's much truth in that, Kieran?
Right. I mean, I like to, also I'd like to believe a bit of everything because I don't trust the governments. I don't trust the world order and all this. You know what I mean? They haven't got our interests at heart or anything like that. So you've got to think about all the stuff that's going around, and this also reverts back to something else. So it's like what we call DEW, which is direct energy weapons. And yet again, from my experience of being in the government, being what I did, I don't trust them one bit, mate. I know how sneaky they are. I know all the undercover bits and bobs like that, and don't trust them. I think it could be true.
Yes. Okay. I'm just going to catch up with the chat real quick. Hasdak says some say it's to do with 5G. I'll get back to that in a second. HSFL Paranormal says he's tweeted this out and shared it on Twitter. Thank you very much. That's much appreciated, mate. And Mary, Paranormal Family, True Crazy Weird Love Wins, has done the same as well. Love my drones. Great to see you, buddy. Thanks for stopping by. Asks, are you a bishop now, aerial views, or is that a Jiffy Pop hat? Now, Mark actually referenced the Jiffy Pop. Essentially, if you can come up with a good name for this hat, put it in the chat, and the best one, that's what it'll be named. But so far, the sort of working title for it is the Hive Mind. And as you can see, this is solid tinfoil. Look, it is solid, and it weighs a ton. So I hope you can appreciate that I've put all this effort in. I've been working on this for quite some time, and I hope it's paying off. I'll tell you what, my mind feels quite clear, you know, so it must be blocking out some signals. Yeah, okay, so okay, we'll go on to 5G then, because that is quite a contested subject at the minute. What does anybody know about 5G? I'll start with Mark on this one, mate. What do you know about it?
Absolutely nothing.
Okay, I'll pass it on then to Kieran. Do you know about 5G, mate?
This is going to be really like, you're not going to really think I'm right. Right. Eagle, do you know when you said they're the loonies, mate? You really going to understand I'm the loony now. Right. Yeah, 5G, I do understand it, mate. What do you want to
know? Tell us what you know.
Right, 5G, where they've been testing it now, birds and everything fall out of the sky in the areas that they've been testing it. It's actually been proven. I wish I'm the kind of person that could bring up the link straight away and stuff like that, where it's been proven by certain scientists and certain governments that come out and say it can be harmless for radio waves for certain birds and certain animals, things like that, like you do with sonar in the sea with mammals and whales and stuff like that. It's meant to radiate out signals. It's meant to help give out the cause of the cancers and stuff to make it really bad. And when it really kicks in, it's just meant to be trouble for all of us. It's basically a walk-in, radiating, killing machine. And it will destroy us, basically. I mean, it would destroy us not as a society. It won't kill us all off. But it would just do a lot more damage. There's too much radiation from these things, and radiation we've got from everything anyway. When you've got these towers located every so far, like it is with electricity towers, everyone knows now, and it's been proven, if you live under pylons and live near pylons, you've got more chance of causing cancer. That's what these things are going to do. They're going to radiate out stronger and everywhere.
Yeah, because they are obviously microwave emitters, essentially. It is microwave signals that they're sending out, which does obviously break down DNA, you know, in high enough concentrations. But what you've got to understand is, essentially, even if something isn't what you'd consider a harmful dose, you've got to look at it over time, you see. And I've watched a lot of, planning proposals to put these all over major cities, these emitters. So essentially, it's going to provide super fast internet to pretty much every home in big cities. But at the same time, I think the range on them is something like 100 to 200 meters, like high intensity sort of transmitters. But the problem with that is they're going to be everywhere, all overlapping. So wherever you go in big cities, you're going to be constantly getting cooked with microwave radiation. Yeah, not good at all. Do you have anything more to add then, Kieran, on this?
I think the bit you said just then at the end of it is what I would have finished off with, because, yeah, basically, like you say, to me, it is like emittance everywhere. Think about X-rays when you go to hospital and stuff like that. Everybody knows if you have too much X-rays, they turn and say to you, yeah, the X-ray radiation could tiny mutate parts of your body inside or make you sick. You know what I mean? So Steve finished it off perfectly at the end of there, what he said.
Oh, nice. Any final thoughts, Mark, before we move on?
Nope. Yeah, this is new to me. I mean, it doesn't sound unusual. It sounds plausible. And are we talking about any government or a specific government that's messing around?
Yeah, every government's looking to implement this in major cities. Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's plausible.
Okay. Hello, Fly Natural. I hope you're well, buddy. Gary Foster's in as well. Lovely to see you. Thanks for stopping by. You know what we get up to on these conspiracy streams. We just talk about any conspiracies, recent, old, popular, mainstream, obscure, whatever. Thanks for joining us, and make sure to be checking everybody's channels out. Feel free to make your own tinfoil hat. The links are above my window above here. which is all good, through Facebook or Twitter. If you send me anything on there, any pictures of tinfoil hats, please let me know in the chat and I'll go and check them out. Okay, so next up then, this one's a bit obscure and I don't know how much information we could get out of this one article itself, but essentially, Monster Energy drink is subliminally promoting the devil. Okay.
Repeat that, please.
Okay, I know it is a little bit hard to take in a wanna. Fly Natural says, is Bigfoot on the menu tonight? Yes, it can be, mate. We'll get onto that straight after this. The premise for this one is Monster, the energy drink, is subliminally promoting the devil.
I actually heard that one.
You've heard of that
my own
one?
student. Yeah, my students talked about it the other day.
Yeah, okay. Here's a link to the article, which I pasted before. This is where I'm reading this from. I want to make sure that everybody knows where I'm reading from and the website gets the credit it should get, okay? Okay, HSFL Paranormal is going to jump in quick with 5G is probably put in by the pharmaceutical company to drive in the cancer rates, to drive up the number of people who are put on their meds.
Yes.
Yeah. And I remember when I was growing up, I remember seeing an advert on TV for cancer research, and it was like, oh, 1 in 3 people will get cancer in their lifetimes. Now the adverts come out, and it's 1 in 2 now, and that's in the space of like 10, 15 years. So the cancer rates are going up to a factor of, 33% more, apparently, according to the official statistics. Rock G, great to see you, mate. I've not encountered you before. I hope you enjoy the stream. The community in here is brilliant. I hope you enjoy. Feel free to post your own conspiracy theories, anything you want to be talked about. And if you want to make your own hat, there is the links above, and we will get to looking at your hats. And the best one will get constant shout-outs, okay? And by default, at the minute, you'll win just by sending 1 picture in, okay? Yeah, okay, so the premise is then, Monster Energy drink has become one of the most purchased energy drinks in North America, with its advertising of super shot of energy for high adrenaline sports activities. However, some people believe that the beverage is secretly promoting the mark of the beast in its logo. Some blogs and websites have noticed that the logo is very similar to the Hebrew letter Vav. In the Hebrew alphabet, every letter has a corresponding number, and Vav's number is 6. Therefore, the 3 Vavs in a row form 666, which is the biblical number of the beast. Religious believers claim 666 will be the official number of the Antichrist in the end times. So clearly, Monster Energy drinks are promoting Satan. So, okay. And I remember watching a documentary. I can't remember much about it. It was a long time ago. Not a documentary as such, but like a 10-minute YouTube video. You know how these things go. With loads of other information and like campaign groups actually trying to spread this message that, Monster is the devil's drink, essentially. So you've heard this one before then, Mark. Do you have anything to add to it from what we've talked about so far?
Yeah, like I said, when I talked about, for fun with some of my students about these conspiracies, they actually brought that up because it is a popular drink, and they didn't go into whether or not they believed it or not, but I'm going to say I'm on the fence on that one. I don't think that they actually support the devil or try to promote the devil wholeheartely, but I'm going to maybe pull together an obscure reference to backward masking from the 80s, the old music thing where you spin the record backwards and you can hear, certain messages and whatnot. There were people that were doing that with records just to sell the records. Especially to the people who are trying to say that they're promoting the devil. So if they're doing it, I don't think that they're promoting it for the sake of promoting Satan. I think it's a marketing scheme as far as I'm concerned. So it's a conspiracy about the conspiracy.
Yeah, possibly.
That's how I would look at that.
Yeah, do you have anything to add into this, Kieran?
This is one which... I've seen that same video with the woman and everything, you know what I mean, in the show and everything. And I looked at it and thought, damn, I've been watching too many of these conspiracy theories, and I can't believe that one though. Sorry, mate.
Yeah, okay. Just pure speculation, I guess.
Yeah.
On this one, anyway, I'm not entirely sure myself. What do you reckon, Mark? Conspiracy or speculation?
Like I said, I'm going to say no to the actual promotion of Satan for the sake of Satan's cause. I think it's all about the money. I think if they're doing it, it's a way to sell because of the hype that it brings to the product. That's just, again, my thoughts. If it's going to happen, that's how it's happening.
Okie dokie. So someone called out Bigfoot on this one.
That would be Fly Natural, I think, called him out earlier.
Yep. Okay. So, do either of you know anything about Bigfoot?
Oh my God, yes.
Yeah.
I've been living that since I've been growing up, as far as hearing about Bigfoot and the Abominable Snowman and In Search of and all the programs about it. So, I'm not an authority by any stretch, but you can't not hear about that in the States.
Okay. Do you want to rattle us off some details then, and some of your own personal encounters with the Bigfoot?
Well, I don't have any personal encounters with the Bigfoot.
I know, mate. I know that was quite a leap. I was hoping you was going to. I was hoping you was going to just suddenly start spilling the beans then about how you got accosted by Bigfoot one night on the way home from the pub. You know.
I dated a woman with big feet before, but but I wouldn't classify her as the Bigfoot. It's funny because growing up there was that one historical or landmark video that has since supposedly been debunked as a conspiracy or a hoax. The classic one that you see in the distance of the Bigfoot in the woods. I mean, if anybody's ever seen that, you know what I'm talking about. Similar to the Loch Ness Monster shot that has come to light that is being a hoax. Do I think is it possible for a creature, a land-born creature, to exist and not be actually discovered by man at this point? I actually will side on the side of plausible in that case, because I mean there are actually places in this world where there are certain populations of people that are completely separate from the rest of the world and live in their own, I don't want to say prehistoric, but their own primitive way. I think it's possible. I wouldn't say probable, but I would say it's possible. I mean, it happens in the ocean. They're still discovering different species of aquatic life, although that's more vast and deeper and harder to get to, and it's easier for those types of animals to escape our capture and our video, let's say. I think it's possible. So I'm going to be on the really, really light side of plausible there, because some of the evidence that they have, although you can't say it's accurate, some of it seems somewhat relevant, and it could be. I guess it could happen, but again, until I see definitive actual proof, I'm not going to say, yeah, I'm a Bigfoot supporter.
Yeah, okay. Kieran, do you want to outline some of your experiences with the Bigfoot for us?
Well, it was like when I was fucking Nam, you know what I mean? It was Nam, but it was Dagenham near London, you know what I mean? Well, the other guy you see on the videos with us, the pretty boy,
okay.
He's well into this, really well into this, mate, I'll tell you. And there's a place called RAF Falconbury out this way here, and he goes around hunting the woods and everything like that, and whenever he sees a crossed tree, in a cross, that's meant to be the sign there's a Bigfoot round, and the way they break certain branches and stuff like that. Obviously, I've grown up as a kid watching all this and thinking things like that. Yeah, so Richie would love this right at the minute. He could give you so much of an input if he was here, but he has to be up at 4 a.m, so he's asleep. But
that's all right. Well, open invite if he ever wants to appear on the panel, and we will delve back into Bigfoot again. Now, I remain open to the idea of Bigfoot, and essentially, HSFL Paranormal said, could Bigfoot be a skinwalker or another one of the cryptids? Essentially, I do have a few tabs open on a few different cryptids. So while we're on the subject of Bigfoot, as suggested by Fly Natural, I believe, we will stay on cryptids for a little bit. What was you going to say, Mark?
The Fly Natural just posted he does a hell of a job selling beef jerky.
Blooming heck. Yeah, so
I love this show.
Yeah, I think it's definitely plausible, definitely. But you know, any sort of evidence I think is tenuous, which it does seem to be my key phrase on this stream, tenuous, because a lot of this evidence is. But the main sort of backup point for it is just how many eyewitnesses there is who've claimed to have seen Bigfoot. And there is a lot of them. And I remember watching a documentary on Bigfoot, and it estimated from the sightings alone that there could potentially be tens of thousands of these Sasquatches. But you've got to understand that with the sort of the advent of mobile phones with cameras and everything, how it's evaded the camera for so long, you know, that's one thing that puts me off. You know, modern day, if there isn't footage of it from somewhere and it's meant to be widespread and something that's physical that can be seen with, you know, the naked eye and cameras, if there's no footage of it, I'm always skeptical, as you know, with Gatwick and Heathrow drones, essentially. So, yeah, any final thoughts before we move on to the next cryptid, then?
Nope.
Kieran?
No, I say it may be, it may be not. You never know. But it's like you said. There's surely in some of these places where the CCTV is in where they're meant to be seen. Why haven't we seen one proper? You know what I mean? Sort of.
And trail cams as well. They're big in the States, aren't they?
That's what I'm on about. The trail cams, everything like that. We know the animals and everything go up to these things. So a Bigfoot, they're meant to attack these things. So, and they're meant to be put back in front. So I don't know. You know what I mean? Don't know.
Okay. So next up, then we'll move on to the Jersey Devil. Have you ever heard of this?
Jersey Devil. Oh. I may have. Keep going.
Okay, so I'm going to read an article from the Pinelands Preservation Alliance website. I'm going to post the link in the chat. There it is in the chat. It's just gone up there. I'm just going to read a little bit of this article. It may take a little bit to get through. It's 2 paragraphs, but I'll try and read as quickly and precisely as I can. So the New Jersey Pinelands is home to miles of pine trees and sandy roads, but is also home to New Jersey's most infamous resident, the Jersey Devil. Designated in 1938 as the country's only state demon, the Jersey Devil is described as a kangaroo-like creature with the face of a horse, the head of a dog, bat-like wings, horns, and a tail. For more than 250 years, this mysterious creature is said to prowl through the marshes of southern New Jersey and emerge periodically to rampage through the towns and cities. The most widely held belief about the origin of the Jersey Devil is that Mrs. Leeds, a resident of Estelville, was distraught when she learnt she was expecting for the 13th time. In disgust, she cried out, "Let it be the devil." The story continues that the child arrived and it was a baby devil. The creature then gave a screech, unfolded its wings and flew out the window and into the adjacent swamp. There is more to read on that, so if you want to read a bit more into the article, it's in the chat. This is one of the many sort of more well-known cryptids. I've heard of the Jersey Devil for a long time. We'll start with Kieran then. What do you reckon, mate? Do you reckon there's any truth in this, that there's a potential little baby devil born and now it rampages through the Jersey Pinelands?
Wait a minute. I'm trying to remember where I see this, and wait a minute. Oh, I remember. It was at cinema. It was called Hellboy, wasn't it?
Yes, Hellboy. But I don't know if that had anything to do with the Jersey Devil.
That was me being sarcastic.
I'm sorry, okay.
I was trying to be a bit comedy, but it didn't work. But there you go.
That's all right.
Don't know, mate. First I've heard of this one, mate, and I thought I was a right conspiracy nut.
Yeah, I've seen a documentary on this as well, and essentially,
mate, I think you've been you're a secret White's drinker, aren't you?
Secret what?
White's drinker.
A secret R. White's drinker?
Yeah. You're the top conspiracy theorist, aren't you?
I don't get the reference.
Right, a secret White's drinker. It's like somebody says they don't drink alcohol, or somebody says they don't drink White's like the lemonade, yeah? But they go down to the fridge and they're drinking White's at the middle of the night.
Oh, okay. I do know a fair bit about conspiracy theories, hence why I host this show.
But no, Steve, I'm beginning to realise you're a lot like me, mate. You really, really do like to look into everything in the world and things on YouTube, and they keep you up when you're got something to do, innit?
Yeah, I remember watching one video. And it was claimed that the entire town, I think it was a year or two after this sort of devil baby was born, and sort of flew off out the window, there was fresh snow, and essentially all the way through the town there was these like footprints with like claws and that on them, quite big, and these footprints went over houses and everything, and they went on for miles as well, these footprints, and was witnessed by pretty much everyone in the town. Followed these footprints, and that's where they went off into the woods in the Jersey Pinelands, which obviously gives it credence when you've got a sort of historical mass sighting of evidence, basically, which still gets referenced when you talk about the Jersey Devil. Yeah, I can read a little bit more of the article if you like, unless you want to chip in with something real quick, Mark.
Yeah, well, I think it's plausible enough for them to name their professional hockey team the Jersey Devils after it. Yeah, I mean, creatures are found every day, not every day, but frequently, that haven't been discovered before. I don't know if it was born from a human or not, but there's some odd creatures out there. They're still finding some weird things. So I think there might be a species that is pretty elusive. Sure, I'll go with plausible on that, but I'll say a negative on the devil born from a human kind of thought, if that's where they got that from originally.
Yeah. Rod Piker's just come in. I hope you're well, buddy. Missing Persons and Mysteries, I hope you're well. Check everyone's channels. Rod Piker, he does some amazing drone footage. I'm not kidding. Some of the best stuff I've ever seen, and I'm going to say right now, I think he is a better pilot than me. I will give you that one, mate. HSFL Paranormal says, I've heard that story. It was one of the stories I was actually showing on my After Dark special. I'm guessing you mean about the devil's footprints through that town, something to do with the Jersey Devil or whatnot. I'm going to read a little bit more of this article. I'm going to repost it as well, just so you know where I'm reading this from. Credit where credit's due. I always link the websites that I'm referencing, essentially. So I'm just going to read the final two paragraphs of it. So countless stories have circulated describing the devil's escapades, raiding chicken coops and farms, destroying crops and killing animals. His presence has been said and felt by many in at least 50 different towns, where he emerges from his natural lair in the Pinelands and wanders through southern New Jersey, sometimes intriguing and sometimes terrorising residents. Posses were constantly formed to apprehend the devil, but to no avail, and at one point as much as $100,000 was offered for the capture of the devil, dead or alive. Several reports of the Jersey Devil's death also proved to be inconclusive, and the scientific community could not explain its existence. Belief in the Jersey Devil is quite real and based on records of concrete occurrences. Reliable people, including police, government officials, businessmen, and many others whose integrity is beyond question, have witnessed devil's activities. To this day, people travelling down the Garden State Parkway or the Atlantic City Expressway reported sightings of something or tell stories of strange occurrences. Many continue to believe that the legendary being is still around, disturbing the region, and will continue to do so for generations to come. So, I mean, if you've got police and government officials, businessmen, all reporting seeing this thing, that gives it some credence. I definitely think so. But it depends when they saw it. I mean, if it was in the modern era, the camera phone era, then there should be footage of it, really. Whenever anything kicks off or there's anything strange, even if you're spooked, you'd probably still try and get your camera out and get some snaps or some shady footage of it. Bleary, shaky footage, you know, that conspiracy theorists seem to love. Everyone records on potatoes in the conspiracy theory circles, I believe, especially when it comes to UFOs. But that's a different tangent altogether. Yeah, I'll pass this one to Kieran then. What do you reckon, mate? Plausible, at very least?
Myself, my hell is your head and your heart. So, you know what I mean? I'm not a really religious person, you could say, being in a Catholic Christian family and everything. So, to me, that devil and all that coincides with that and everything. And I give it I come from science, and I don't know if it was something to be like that. I think it'd rather be a creature alien rather than a devil.
Possibly, yeah. I'm not particularly religious. Well, I consider myself an atheist, but when it comes to things of the spiritual nature and things like that, I definitely don't dismiss it. I've had some experiences myself with the paranormal, as it were, which I've spoke about on HSFL stream a few times about different things. Yeah, so whether it's paranormal, some sort of demon, Satan reincarnated, or, you know, like you say, extraterrestrial. I mean, if people have seen this thing en masse and there's physical evidence of it in terms of them footprints that one year that went over roofs as well throughout the night, people woke up to literally miles of trails of all these footprints. So, yeah, I'm definitely going to have to say plausible, I think, for myself. What do you reckon, Mark? Are you gonna slap plausible on this, or are you gonna dismiss it?
Oh, I'm plausible. Like I said, I'm plausible in the sense that it's a could be a vicious creature of some sort. But I myself, I would label myself more on the agnostic side of religion. The possibility, don't dismiss it, but I don't necessarily follow anything in particular wholeheartedly. But yeah, I'm going to go plausible on the creature itself. And you know, I mean, I don't know, would there be any connection to that and these mutilations that they claim happen, not necessarily in Jersey, but you know, the cow mutilations and stuff? I mean, have they tried to make any connection between that and these Jersey devils?
I don't know. It does sound. I mean,
That's
if it's mutilating farm animals, that does tie into the legends of you know, like alien cattle mutilations, and also the Mexican legend of the chupacabra as well, which does something very similar.
Yeah.
Which you know, they find 2 puncture wounds on the neck, and the entire body has been drained of blood. Like literally, not a drop of blood remains in the corpses of the animals, essentially. And usually, when it comes to these mutilations, there is something removed from the body in a surgical fashion. Usually things like eyes, ears, tongues, reproductive organs. If the female, cows especially, their udders are removed, and sometimes they actually core out the anus as well, which I know sounds very crude just saying it like that, but that is well documented that these things do happen in a surgical fashion. And when they find the actual animals' bodies, there's not a drop of blood anywhere, no footprints, no car tracks, nothing. And sometimes there can be up to 20 or 30 animals just dead in a field with all different organs removed. Sometimes there's organs missing from inside the animals, and there's no cuts on the bodies. which is also very odd, as if they've just been materialised away or dematerialised out the animal. I'm just going to stop real quick because we do have a VIP in the chat. Canadian Drone Hub, Roger, I hope you're well, buddy. If you haven't checked out Canadian Drone Hub already, honestly, he is the pillar of the drone community. He brings everybody together. You know, he live streams at least once a day. Lovely guy, honestly, and a great community where, I mean, if I hadn't met Roger at the Canadian Drone Hub, I wouldn't know a lot of the people here, and he's a great inspiration to me and a lot of other people as well. So if you haven't checked him out, definitely do so. And I hope you like the inclusion of the propeller, Roger. That's in case I need to get away really quick. I'm just going to literally fire it up and take off, essentially.
Yeah, it was on Roger's stream this morning that I think I typed in a few times #foil sucks.
Yeah. yeah.
I was making the hat while I was watching him this morning. Oh my God.
Yes. Urban Lad Yorkshire's in. I hope you're well, buddy. Like anybody knows, check everybody out. There's a great community in here. You've just got a blue wrench coming your way, mate. I hope you're well, and I hope you enjoy the stream. That's cool. So anything else to add on this particular cryptid, the Jersey Devil, before we move on? Because there's 2 or 3 others I'd like to discuss. Final thoughts?
Okay. Can I go first for a quick second?
Yeah,
I just want to give a shout out. Lauren Amy puts in there. She goes, "It's only a story. It's made up like the Slender Man." I'm going to quit. I don't know what the Slender Man is, but the tone of that text is, I would say, the equivalent of the typed version of Craig's No.
Yeah. Well, okay. I've got no information in front of me about the Slender Man, but I do know a fair bit about it. So if you want to hear that, we'll do it. What do you reckon? Do you want to talk the Slender Man a little bit?
You'd have to educate me first.
Okay. The Slender Man is a urban legend. Started off as a creepypasta, if you know what one of them is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's just a copy and paste type scary story that you'd find on internet chat forums and whatnot. And essentially, the Slender Man is estimated to be between sort of 11 and 15 feet tall, but that can vary depending on who you ask. Completely blank, featureless white face. Wears a black suit, or is completely black. And extremely thin and gangly. Very, very thin, with very long arms and very long legs. And sometimes has like black sort of tentacles or appendages coming out of his back. Now, this started off, and the guy who actually first did the creepypasta about Slenderman actually said, you know, it was a made-up story. But since then, people have been claiming to actually see him, and there was a very famous case of 2 young girls from the US who actually sort of believed the Slender Man was real and took the friend out into the woods, and as a sacrifice to Slender Man to please him, essentially they sort of tied the friend up, tortured her, and stabbed her about, I think it was something like 20 or so times. She survived. She survived, this young girl, and the 2 girls actually went to court about it and was deemed insane, essentially, because they said Slender Man told them to do it. Yeah, and Slender Man still exists in the public mind today. There's been computer games made out of it. I believe there's a film that's either been made or it's in the making, a Slender Man film. Yep. So what do you reckon about that, Mark?
Well, before I start talking about that, you got to. Did you read Canadian Drone Hub's comment, Roger? What he just said. I'll leave it to you to read it. It's hysterical.
Okay. Canadian Drone Hub says aerial views. You just described Kim to the T. Yeah, man. That's a good.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, just sort of lurks about in the woods. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, waiting to get that tiny whoop in the air. Yeah.
Now, I've heard of the movie, but I don't know if it was called Slenderman or Slender, as in thin man, as you know, the movie. But regardless, it sounds very similar.
Yeah, the name is Slender Man, not Slander Man.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah, I've heard of the movie, never seen it. Never really heard of the the conspiracy or the myth about the person. I mean, I'm reading about how he supposedly killed the two girls with their friend and whatnot, but um, yeah, I don't know much about it. And I mean, could there be a creep out in the woods who matches that description, killing people? Sure, I guess it could be, but with appendages out the back and with the ghostly features you mentioned, I don't know. That one's a hard one to believe.
Yeah, okay. Real quick, we've got Cryptid559 in the chat. I hope you're well, buddy. He says, I didn't get notifications. That's all good, mate. It's all good. We're still going for a while yet. At least another hour or so, at very least, so that's all good. That's all good. And Ricky Dove's just come in. I've just thrown a series of blue wrenches out there. You know what I mean? That's all good. That's cool. So do you have anything to add then, Kieran, about the Slender Man? Do you know much about it or anything at all?
I'm not too sure if I've come across this one. I don't know. I just want to know. Don't know if I can say this on the stream, but I suppose I'm going to say it. How much LSD they took?
Possibly. You've always got to throw in sort of someone was just wandering through the woods and they found some crazy mushrooms. Yeah.
True.
Yeah. Hello, Gary Sprinkler Repair. We're just talking Slender Man at the minute. I hope you're doing well, buddy. Great to see you. And I have seen you about a few times. You have earned my trust. And there's the blue wrench for you, buddy. Great to see you. So now everybody who's in the chat has a blue wrench. Everybody's on par. This is what I like, spot on. Anything else to add, Mark, before we move on? Because I've got 2 or 3 other cryptids to discuss yet.
Keep it rolling.
Okay, then. The next one is the Mothman. Ever heard of this?
Yeah. Yes.
Nope.
Okay, I'm going to give a quick rundown. I'm going to put the article link in the chat for if anybody wants to check it out themselves. And I'm just going to read a couple of paragraphs real quick just to set the framework for what we're going to talk about. So the Mothman is a cryptid that lives in the area around Point Pleasant, West Virginia. It's described as being a human-bird hybrid, larger than a normal man. Its wingspan maybe 10 foot. It's grey in colour with red glowing eyes. The Mothman was seen during a period from November 1966 to December 1967, culminating in the collapse of the Silver Bridge, a disaster that is linked to the Mothman through superstition that killed 46 people. There's a serious debate about whether the Mothman caused the bridge collapse or was merely warning people about it. Some believe the Mothman is connected, or also known as Indrid Cold, a name for the Grinning Man, a supernatural entity who grins at those who see him. The Grinning Man is believed to be an alien or alien species. Proximity to the Mothman causes confusion, extreme fear, and psychological distress that can last months and lead to death or insanity. The first known sighting of the Mothman was 1966 November, witnessed by 5 men at once. Over the next 13 months, more than 100 sightings took place with credible witnesses like couples, firefighters, and large groups of people. So I'm going to end the paragraph reading there because the rest of it is a bit more about the sort of films and that was made about it. So you did sort of seem to know about this one, Kieran, or you gave the indication. You got anything to add to this story, mate?
Yeah, I'd heard of it, and while you were talking and there, you was reminding me of a few things and everything like that. At first, I thought, oh, right, maybe not, until you said you got to the bit where they all feared and people tried taking their lives and stuff like that. The way I remembered it was like the movie Mimic, where sometimes this creature would be seen and it would seem to be like literally a Mothman, like something like out in the movie Mimic and that. And they would see it. It seemed to be like a creature that was freaky and everything like that. And it would implant something in their head, or they thought it implanted something in their head. And then suddenly, not long after or a while after, they couldn't explain where it was. And it was like, you know what I mean? It affected them and stuff like that for the people that survived and all that. So, yeah, I knew a little bit about it. But I actually thought it was still an occurrence now.
I believe it is, as I read through the article. There is still sightings that go on until present day. Yeah, so
right. But you also expanded it a bit more there, obviously, because you've got the information in front of you and all that. But yeah, so I'd heard of it and everything, and I didn't know they made a movie about it now, so I'm gonna have to go watch that.
Yeah, I believe it was called. Let me have a look. Yeah, I think there was a film called The Mothman Prophecies, I believe, but I don't know.
When was it, mate?
Yeah. Real quick, Yorkshire Drone Seekers, I'm sorry, I did see you in the chat before. I'll shout you out. Great to see you. It really is. Thanks for joining us. We've got a couple of other new people come in as well. We've got Lewis P. Floyd, Holy SHI7. What the HE double hockey sticks is going on here? So, do you like the way I strategically read that out there? Yeah, that's all good. And you know, I'm just going to thank the guests real quick for keeping the chat clean so far. Much appreciated. I know it is tough when you're used to swearing and cursing a lot. I do have trouble with it myself, but I'm getting better on stream, not using the foul language. I try and keep these streams sort of suitable for all ages, essentially. So, yeah, that's cool. Interactive DNA is in as well. 1 second,
Steve,
mate.
can I quickly say something?
Yeah, go on.
You mean like the hectic, like 20-minute phone calls beforehand, and the
yeah.
Came up my mouth was, you know what?
Yeah. Essentially, I'm just going to give a little bit of a backstory to this. I was trying to arrange the Skype call with Kieran, essentially, at probably about 9:10 UK time today. He was struggling to work it out, so he gave me his phone number and whatnot, and I give him mine. He rang me, and he's like, F this and A that, and I can't do this, and you know. And I was like, just take a chill pill. We'll work it out. And he's like, let me get a pen, and he's writing down these things, you know, get Skype, create account, and then let me know the email address. Right. Yeah, and he was very flustered, but we got there in the end. Yeah, that's all good. And like that's why I thought I'll just thank you now for keeping the chat clean, essentially, you know. So yeah, thank you very much. And to Mark as well. Spot on. Yeah, cool. Hello, Interactive DNA. I hope you're well, mate. Mothman is believed to be my boss. Everyone pretends to be doing something while the beast arrives, says Interactive DNA. Rapid Man, I hope you're doing well, buddy. Great to see you. I hope you enjoy the stream. We're just talking about conspiracy theories, and at the moment we're on the subject of cryptids. We've covered Bigfoot, Slender Man, the Jersey Devil. Now we're on to the Mothman, and there's one or two others that I want to cover as well. So, being from the States, Mark, have you ever heard of this Mothman character?
Well, I've heard, again, I'm not a big movie watcher, but I've heard of the Mothman prophecies. I'm assuming that's what you mentioned before and the connection between that. I haven't heard much about its legitimacy. Looking at something that, where was it I saw it? Country Cycle Cam said something that the Mothman has been known to show before disasters. Did you read anything like that in your documentation there, Steve? Is there anything to corroborate that in there? Just curious, because it's interesting to hear that there'd be some sort of a sighting right before a natural disaster of some sort, or other disaster for that matter.
Yes.
But
yeah, sorry, mate. Go on.
No. I mean, we're, as far as I'm concerned, that's reaching on the concept of aliens at that point. I don't think that there's a creature that is that exists like that, unless if you believe in aliens, it would be on that lines. But yeah, I don't know enough to really give an opinion. Is it plausible that there's a creature that maybe looks like that or does something outlandish, as you say? Maybe, but nah, I'm gonna have to go on the lighter side of plausible on that one. To the no, the classic Craig's no on that one.
Yeah, okay. I'm going to read a few more pieces of this article anyway, just to get the last of the information out of it for us to discuss. The article is listed here for anybody who wants to have a look for themselves, because I always link the web pages and whatnot, so credit where credit's due. Obviously, they rely on views and click-through rates and things just as much as any other site does. So, good-o. So, yeah, I'm going to read some more. Most people know about the Mothman because of the Mothman Prophecies, a book written by journalist and author John Keel and later turned into a film starring Richard Gere. The book and film connect the Mothman to the townspeople of Point Pleasant having psychic abilities and the collapse of the Silver Bridge. The Mothman was the subject of one episode of the TV series Unsolved Mysteries, of which on the site there is a link. There's also an entire episode of Paranormal Witness dedicated to a couple who claim to have had a terrifying encounter with the Mothman. Since 2002, the town of Point Pleasant has celebrated a Mothman festival on the third weekend of every September. There's a 12-foot tall statue of the Mothman in Point Pleasant. People have explained away the Mothman as a large heron or a sandhill crane. The glowing eyes could simply be normal animal eyes reflecting the light from another source like a flashlight or car headlights. To this day, people claim to have seen the Mothman before disasters like 9/11 and the collapse of the 35W bridge in Minneapolis. There are no confirmed photos of the Mothman, though many fake pictures exist. And then on this article, there is loads of actual witness accounts, all in quotation marks. So, like I say, if you want to check that out, it is in the chat for you to check out yourself. So, like you say, yeah, there is sightings going on till present day, and obviously people just having a look through the articles, these people are all corroborating that this thing, you know, they all seem to describe it very similarly anyway. What are the odds on this then? Are we talking plausible? Kieran, what do you reckon, mate?
Don't know, mate. This one's got me a little bit stumped. You know what I mean?
Okie dokie.
Done on the fence on that one. Sit on the fence even.
Yeah, okay. Yorkshire Drone Seekers has asked me aerial views when you're releasing your Sheffield visit. Essentially, I'm waiting for Craggs, one of my crew, to bring me a memory stick with his footage on from his Osmo Pocket that he recently got, which he's very, very pleased with. Because he does a lot of the non-spoken sort of B-roll type shots with his camera, and we visited the Yorkshire Air Museum before going to Sheffield, and that was amazing. It really was. You know, Spitfires, Halifax, Lightnings, Nimrods, loads of different aircraft, and it's actually a Joint Forces war memorial as well as a museum. Lovingly kept to World War II standards. All the buildings are original. Just an amazing place, you know, memorials to US Air Force, Canadian Air Force, French Air Force, Italians, all the Allied forces from throughout the wars, basically, with all the flags and everything, and memorials to all the people who served on the base. And I believe it was something like... at one time, there was 2,500 people at RAF Elvington, which is what the site used to be, with one of the UK's longest runways, which is no longer active. 3.1 kilometres long runway, which is now used as like a car test track and is hired out for like sporting events and things like that. So you buy a supercar and you want to put your foot down legally, you take it to RAF Elvington or the Yorkshire Air Museum, and you get it on their runway, essentially. Okay, real quick then, missing persons and mysteries. Off the subject, but are there any suggestions for inexpensive drones I can purchase for search and rescue purposes? Probably the best one I can recommend, which is a very well-known and reliable little drone, is the DJI Spark, which would, well, second-hand you can probably get one for about £300, about 400 US dollars. Does everything that these do, but it records in 1080p. That's the only setback. Less battery life. I think they're a little bit slower, but for the price, you won't get a better camera drone for that price.
Yeah, and I think if you go with the Spark in the States, $400 with the controller might even get you the Fly More package too, which gives you a few more batteries. So it's a good little drone that I'm trying to get my hands on. Love it. Love what I see that it does. Great camera on it for 1080p. Roger could talk to that. I think he's got one.
Yeah, the DJI Spark, so it's Delta Juliet Indigo. Yeah, I'll write
he's
that.
got it.
Yeah,
he's got it.
There we go, DJI like that. Okay. Okay then. So are we done with the Mothman? Are we ready to give him a kick up the bum and then move on to the next one?
Moving on.
Yeah. Okay. So the next one then is the Kraken.
Oh, my hat.
Yeah.
My hat.
Yeah. What your hat represented. The legendary sea creature called the Kraken, which resembles a giant octopus or giant squid, depending on who you ask. Do you know anything about this, you guys? Feel free, open question to chip in.
I've never heard of there being an actual possibility of something called the Kraken. I mean, they've been discovering giant squid for a while now. I think it's plausible that there was or is a ginormous squid of some sort of make or fashion that exists. I don't know if it's big enough to take down a ship or not, but I think that those there's so many unexplained or unexplored parts of our ocean that things like that could exist. I mean, the deeper you go, the more life you find. So I'm gonna go with plausible. But as far as the mythological Kraken that was put there by the Greek gods or whatever, something that large, yeah, I'm gonna I don't think it's of that lines, but yeah, I'm gonna go with a huge squid can definitely exist, no doubt.
Okay, well, I'm gonna read a little bit from this article, real quick. And this is from the Museum of Unnatural History. I'm going to paste that in there. That's cool. Marie Paranormal Family says, I've got to go, guys. We'll see you next time. Thank you again. Much love. Much love to you, Marie Paranormal. Thank you for dropping in and showing your support. And I hope to catch you next time. Okay, next stream is Wednesday night, 10 p.m. UK. 5 p.m. Eastern time, okay? And that's just general chat. Let's support each other. General chat, you know, blah, blah, blah. Channel shout-outs, you know. That's me midweek stream that I do without any sort of topic as such. We just talk about whatever we want, basically. Dad Random's just come in. Great to see you, buddy. I hope you're well. Sorry, it's Championship Sunday. I'm watching and listening. You guys are one of my favourite channels. Oh, thank you very much, buddy. That is much appreciated. Like I say, thanks for popping in. I hope you enjoy the stream. And if everyone would go over and show Dad Random some love, that's all good. Okay? So I'm going to read a couple of paragraphs of this article, regarding the Kraken. And I'm just going to read it direct from the article link that I pasted on there. So, probably no legendary sea monster was as horrifying as the Kraken. According to stories, this huge, many-armed creature could reach as high as the top of a sailing ship's main mast. A Kraken would attack a ship by wrapping their arms around the hull and capsizing the boat. The crew would drown or be eaten by the monster. What's amazing about the Kraken stories is that of all the sea monster tales we have the best evidence that this creature was based on something real. Tales of a huge, many-armed, headed or horned sea creatures exist from ancient times. The Greek legend of the Scylla, a monster with 6 heads that Odysseus must sail past during his travels, is an example of this tradition. In 1555, Olaus Magnus wrote of the sea creature with sharp and long horns, round about like a tree root up by the roots. There are 10 or 12 cubits long, very black with huge eyes. So what do you reckon then, Kieran? Do you reckon there is a a massive octopus in the sea that could be taking down old sailing ships and whatnot?
Well, obviously, and sort of seeing these from the olden days, you know what I mean, with the old ships and everything like that. We all know that deep down in the ocean, where there's no pressure and everything like that, when they're small down there, and when some of these things come up towards us with the pressure or everything, it was like they swell, and swell. Don't know, maybe something like that got tangled up in a ship or something once. I don't know, not too sure. And then again, it's in legends and it's in movies as well, where these things have meant to exist. So, you know what I mean? Some legends are meant to be true, aren't they? Some legends are meant to be elaborated over the years, exaggerated, you see what I mean?
Yeah, there's, as I'm sort of just skimming this article here, I'm just going to read another key piece of information that we got. The Kraken of legend is probably what we know today as the giant squid, while a colossal octopus may also fit the description. The squid is thought to be much more aggressive and more likely to come to the surface where it might be seen by man. Those squids are considerably less than 1.5 miles across. Some are thought to be large enough to wrestle with a whale. On at least 3 occasions in the 1930s, they reportedly attacked ships. While the squids got the worst of these encounters when they slid into the ship's propellers, the fact that they attacked at all shows that it is possible for those creatures to mistake a vessel for a whale. So, yeah, and I mean, giant squids are massive. I've actually seen one that's preserved. I believe that was in the Natural History Museum in London. I think they've got a preserved giant squid in there. Or I've seen one somewhere. And literally, you're walking for a long time before you get to the end of this thing. And you're just like, wow, it is huge. So what do you reckon, Mark? Do you reckon stories of old, maybe maybe a giant squid or a colossal octopus might have took down a ship?
I mean, I don't know about the octopus, but I do know when you describe the horns and whatnot. I don't know if people know this, and I apologize if you already know this, but I didn't realize this till maybe 10, 15 years ago that, you know, what looked to be like suction cups on the bottom of the tentacles of a squid, they actually do have horns. They're kind of like teeth that retract, and that's how they actually hold on to their prey. It isn't through suction. It's actually through these little tiny, well, big if you're talking about a giant squid, horns, for lack of a better description, big teeth that come out and hook into their prey, and that's how they grapple with them. And so I think it's definitely plausible. And if they were going to attack the big ships with props and, of course, be damaged, as you say, there's nothing to say that they wouldn't do that to a wooden ship and be less armed.
Okay. Yorkshire Drone Seeker says, I'll say good night, folks. 5:30 a.m. start tomorrow. Laters. Great to see you, buddy. Really is. I hope you have a great night, and I'll catch you again soon. There is a meeting that we are going to plan to go meet up with the Yorkshire Drone Seekers at some point. So I'm really looking forward to that. Just while I remember, Dad Random, Blue Wrench your way. There it is. I've just handed it to you. That's spot on. I may have to take the hat off for 2 minutes to give my neck a rest and let my head ventilate just for a moment because my head is so sweaty. Look at that. That is gross. There's just no ventilation in that thing.
Nothing wrong with mine.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
I think it was that air venting you put in it, that ducting.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just going to let my head dry off a little bit. And it takes the weight off my neck as well. I mean, look at this. Look. It weighs an absolute ton, this thing, look. And it is solid tinfoil. I've even had to put an arrow in there, look. So I know which way it goes on.
I mean, do you absolutely trust that I'm still wearing mine right now?
I can see that you're not. I'm not stupid. I know what you do.
I just took it off for a bit.
Yeah. I know. It's all good. So, yeah. What do you reckon then? Giant squid, Kieran? Do you reckon this thing's attacking boats in the olden times and then it became the legend of the Kraken?
the way Century put it, I remember now seeing the things where he was on about with the way they clump onto things with the teeth and everything like that. Over the time, we've hunted a lot of things to extinction. So, you ask me, then yeah, definitely plausible in one way. Yeah. But like the way of attacking a prey, maybe it thought it was prey in the early times, and the legend's just gone through, and as I say, you know what I mean, just become a bigger legend.
Yeah, I definitely think it's plausible. Okay, I think we've summed this one up about as well as we can without reading pretty much everything on this link that I've posted. So, are we ready to sort of throw the Kraken back to sea and then move on to another cryptid?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Let's dive in.
Okay, so we've got the next one. And I know that somebody mentioned the chupacabra, so after this one, I will talk about it a little bit. I've got no information in front of me, but I do know a little bit about it. So next up, we're going to talk about the bunyip, a creature from the swamps of Australia. Have either of you ever heard of this one?
Nope.
It's a little bit more obscure.
Right, sorry, say the name of that again.
The bunyip.
I think I've heard their name, but I don't think I know anything about it, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, okay. So I'll read a little bit of this article then. I'm also going to paste that into the chat for anybody to have a look at what I'm talking about. Okay, so I'm going to read some of these articles. The bunyip gobbles up children and livestock if they inch too close to the edge of the water. It mainly preys upon women and children in the darkness of the night. The bunyip is an aquatic mammal. It has smooth skin, apricot eyes, and a bellowing cry that it releases before pouncing on its victims and devouring them. The bunyip is a mythical creature from Australia, from Australian Aboriginal mythology, should I say. It lurks in swamps, billabongs, creeks, riverbeds, and waterholes. The most frequent reports of bunyip sightings came from the southeastern colonies of Victoria, New South Wales, and South Australia in the 1840s and 1850s. Legend says that a man named Bunyip once broke the rainbow serpent's greatest law by eating his totem animal. After that, he was banished and transformed into an evil spirit that lured tribesmen and their animals into the water to eat. This one seems a little bit more obscure, definitely.
Especially based on that picture on that article. Holy crud.
Yeah, that does look very odd, doesn't it? Yeah. Obviously, you've checked the article, Mark. What do you reckon, mate?
Yeah, I don't have any knowledge of Australia to the extent where I could form that kind of an opinion. I almost want to believe that it's a story created by parents to keep their kids from playing near the water.
Possibly, yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I'm gonna kind of abstain from this one just because I really, again, there could be all kinds of creatures, but I don't know what they've got in Australia, so it's hard for me to form an opinion on that one. I'd have to read more on that one.
Okay, Kieran, any thoughts on this, mate?
When you talked about it a little bit and you said Aboriginal, I was going to come in and say I think this is Aboriginal. I watched something. I had a nickname once called Walkabout because I used to walk everywhere. And I watched a movie I think called Walkabout. And Central had almost got it at the end there, where he said it's like a thing for parents to scare the kids about.
Yeah.
What I remember rightly, it was like the Aborigines boogeyman we have, to scare the kids.
Yes, mate.
So I think that's what I know of it. I can't open links up because it's going to take out my computer with the page, and so I'm just coming off the top of my head. But I think the movie's called Walkabout. I'm not too sure if it is. It's about a young lad. He's about 13, and he has to go about the walkabout in the bush and everything. You know what I mean? He's coming from boyhood to man, and the bunyip is what he dreams about at night while he's trying to get through the walkabout. And he thinks it's chasing him. In one way, I think it's the nightmares and the dreams of the bunyip what helped him get through the walkabout, because he just kept running and walking, and it actually, by the end of the movie, it turned him into a man. As in, you know what I mean, brought out about his manhood, and he wasn't scared anymore of anything.
Yeah.
Because they go like a year or something, didn't they, or something out there?
Yeah. I don't know if there's anything much more to actually add to this. A lot of the records of sightings and everything go back to the 1800s, which makes a lot of them very sort of lacking in credibility, definitely. You know, so obviously people were a lot more prone to sort of hysteria back then about things, you know, just because there wasn't any sort of readily available sources like there is today with the internet and whatnot. Yeah, I definitely think it's more of an old wives' tale, you know, scaring the kids and whatnot. Because obviously in Australia it's packed with crocodiles and alligators in it, and that's the thing. You don't want your kids anywhere near the water's edge where these things are known to lurk and hunt the prey. So a good tale would be, oh, there's the bunyip, there's evil demon that hides in the water and it's terrible scream and it'll snap you from the side of the water or something, you know. I think it's definitely a good story to tell your kids if you don't want them near the water's edge. Yeah. Interactive DNA just chipped in. I think Trump's hair goes back to the 1800s.
Well, that goes back much further, man. Much further.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah. Well, at least we've covered the bunyip anyway. I am quite keen to now get onto the chupacabra if everybody's happy with that.
Let's have at it.
Yeah. Okay. I have no information in front of me about the chupacabra, but I have done a little bit of research in the past about it. The chupacabra is known to reside in Mexico with many sightings. No credible footage, of course. I think it's meant to be about 3 to 4 foot high and runs on all fours. But
half dog type thing.
Yeah, it's sort of like half dog, half human type creature with big fangs, and it actually sucks the blood out of farm animals. I think chupacabra actually translates to something like cow sucker, I believe, or something like that. Yeah, and essentially, farmers would find entire herds of cattle, like I say, all drained of blood. Like I was saying about the cattle mutilations. Similar thing with organs missing, completely drained of blood, and entire herds of cattle have been downed by it. And these sightings do go back a long time, right up until present day. But I've always wondered whether the chupacabra, sort of supposed chupacabra sort of cattle mutilations are the same thing as the sort of alien cattle mutilations, and if there's any sort of overlap there. So I'll throw that one to... I'll go to Kieran with that one. What do you reckon, mate, about possible chupacabra cattle mutilations possibly being alien cattle mutilations?
I think I might have fallen to this video or this... sorry, I'm probably speaking loudly because I don't know the on the phones and like with voice and everything. Obviously, it's been new to these smartphones, but I think I've fallen asleep a few times to things like this on TV, and I'm trying to remember what it is. One of them sort of X-File type programs, you know what I mean? Alien X-File type things, and now they've tried to debunk that if it's a dog type cross thing or an alien type cross thing like that. They've found bodies in there as well that have been sucked out.
Yeah, human bodies as well, yeah.
Yeah, so as you said, they've never really caught anything definitive on it, as in picture, video-wise, but there's meant to be so much proof. You know what I mean? I've seen a few things of it. It's I don't know, because there is so much we don't know about as well. But would it be like that? I more tend to think it's a creature what probably eats blood or sucks blood, if you know what I mean. A kind of species what has survived to what probably sucked on leached on other animals' blood. It's decided to go, right, I'll leech on these humans and getting low on food, so I'll attack them as well.
Yeah. Okay, I'll pass it over to Centroid then. What do you reckon, dude?
I'd have to put that one in the same category as like the abominable snowman or Bigfoot. Could a creature like that exist? Possibly, with odd eating habits and whatnot. again, I don't know about the whole, human blood sucking thing, but there are some species that only eat certain bits and pieces, I would think, and maybe it's plausible, but I don't know. I'd have to have a little more proof myself.
Yeah. Okay. Now here's a funny story for you because I was watching a documentary about the cattle mutilations that happen across the American Midwest, and essentially it came up with actual pictures, a YouTube video. And I'll try and find that link for the next stream so I can link that in for you to look at. But I mean,
I'd love to see it ahead of time, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you just search in YouTube anyway, cattle mutilations and things like that, there's tons of documentaries about it. And some of the pictures of what happens to these cows is horrific.
Oh, yeah,
I'm
I've
not
seen
kidding.
some.
And there was one of them. I'm going to describe this the best way I can without being too graphic, but it has to be fairly graphic to describe what it was. Essentially, there was a cow there. And what had happened was, like surgically, no blood or anything. There was no blood left in this cow. And they'd cut all the way round its lip, all the way to the back of its mouth, all the way round, all the skin off its bottom jaw was gone. And all of its top lip, and the skin off the gums, and all the tongue was missing, right? All of that bit was gone, and both the ears had been cored out as well. Like you could see straight down, like a cylinder shape had gone in and just sort of removed the entire inner ear in one sort of straight piece. And this cow was also missing its rectum as well, which had also been cored out. And it was missing several of its internal organs as well. But there was no actual cut marks on its body. All there was two fingers on its neck, like Dracula fangs, and that's believed to be where the blood was drained. But like I say, with all these cattle mutilations, they never find blood anywhere, and for the most part, the animals are drained of all the blood. And now, I don't know if you've ever heard of someone called William Cooper. Have you ever heard of this guy before?
Yeah.
William Cooper.
Don't think so.
Yeah, a real quick summary of William Cooper. He was ex-Navy and ex-Air Force. He got discharged from both with honours. He had a ridiculously high IQ. He became a professor of deep-sea oceanography and became a professor on the methods of how to pressurize and depressurize deep-sea divers and chambers and things. And essentially, he went on to become a prominent ufologist and conspiracy theorist and public speaker, speaking about all sorts of things to do with aliens, backed up by official documentation. And there is some very good speeches by William Cooper online. And essentially what happened was he had his own radio show, which he's self-funded himself, completely free, public radio in his local area. And I've actually got the recordings of this entire radio show he did, where essentially some reporter had actually gone into a cave. This is pre-9/11, by the way. Some reporter had actually gone into a cave in Afghanistan, found Osama bin Laden, and actually interviewed him and some of his cronies, and was just allowed to leave, basically. And William Cooper was saying, you know, there's talk of Osama bin Laden, this ain't good. I'm going to guarantee you right now that something big's going to happen, and it's probably going to involve the World Trade Center or the Pentagon. And this was 2 weeks before 9/11. He predicted it, exactly what was going to happen. Something to do with Osama bin Laden and the World Trade Centers and the Pentagon. And I think it was about a month later, he was talking about, you know, being followed by men in black suits, you know, sort of Secret Service type dudes, running him off the road, telling him to shut up, threatening his family, lurking about outside his house, and eventually sent his wife and kids away while he lived alone. And essentially one night police stormed his house, shot him dead, and official story of what happened there, they got a house call to a burglary or a disturbance, and they went to the wrong house. Right? Which all seems very, very coincidental to me. But essentially, William Cooper spoke about cattle mutilations and things. And he said, you know, from these official reports, generally when you get these cattle mutilations, they'd be somewhere near heavy industrial sites, nuclear power plants, things like that. And the reason why they do core out the ears and the tongues and the rectums and whatnot is because these are the sort of cavities where pollution and everything actually gets in the easiest and traps. So whenever they're coring these parts out, they're actually studying them parts for radiation and pollution and the effects of it on cows, essentially. Whether that be aliens or government agencies is still unknown, but that makes a lot of sense to me.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with plausible on government there.
Yeah. So that was a lot for me to reel off there. What's your thoughts on this so far, Kieran? Any aspect to that, William Cooper, the chupacabra, or cattle mutilations? What's your thoughts?
Right. For starters, the chupacabra, I still think it was some sort of animal bred we've not found yet. Got starved and just happens to be able to have the form of being sucked the blood out. The cattle mutilations, the way I see cattle mutilations, it stems back to the Dulce base in Mexico. That was meant to be connected to that. Centroid said something in a minute when he said government. Oh, yeah. And like you said, with the parts they took, that would make sense because they are the most sensitive parts of the bodies. But in the cattle mutilations, I understand they have also round burn marks in them, sort of like cauterized burn marks, where they take certain parts of the bodies. They take certain glands, like your they go for certain glands, like sweat glands, the lymph glands, your residue glands where you go to the toilets and stuff. You know what I mean? And what was the other one, Steve?
What's that? Sorry.
What was the other one with Cupachara, cattle mutilations, and
government?
Yeah. Possible government involvement in this.
Yeah, definitely. Government cross something else. Maybe otherworldly. I don't know. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Now, if you've not encountered William Cooper before or anything, he actually has done some brilliant speeches. One was on secret government. One of his speeches was called "Behold a Pale Horse." Hasdak in the chat has just reminded me of it. Now, "Behold a Pale Horse" covers all aspects of secret government, government involvement with aliens and cooperation with them as well, with documentation that he provides. And he also did another really good speech in Lansing in Michigan, where he talks from literally about the age of man, from the dawn of man to present day. I'd recommend watching any of these. Yeah, and that "Behold a Pale Horse" speech he did, or seminar should I say, is 4 hours, 20 minutes long. And I've watched it many, many times, and I still find it gripping. So he has slideshows, and you can tell he enjoys what he does. Yeah, sorry, mate, go on.
Is this where he wears his...
Kieran?
Sorry, mate. Is this where he wears the his glasses and his white shirt all the time in the videos?
In one of the speeches, I believe so, yeah. One of them's called Secret Government, I believe.
Yeah, I think once again, another one I've gone to sleep to a few times, I think.
Yeah, very interesting, though.
Yeah,
in one of them, he talks about one of the aliens they captured from... you're breaking up a little bit, mate. What was that, sorry?
Didn't he have permission to talk about aliens or something from the aliens? And the aliens said, you want to talk, you talk. If they give you any more hassle, we would at the time give them hassle or something.
I'm not entirely sure. Bill Cooper is Bill Cooper is William Cooper. That's just his nickname, Bill Cooper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some part I'm probably getting mixed up with something because it's the couple of subjects what I'm mixing, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, that's all good. Yeah. Interactive DNA says, Dad Random, I think they got confused too. They were supposed to take the entire cow, but lost in translation. They got their asses instead. Yeah, we told you to bring the entire cow, and you've brought us the rectum, you idiot. What is not to understand in bring us the entire thing? Yeah, right.
Abby normal.
Yeah,
Abby
yeah.
normal.
Yeah. So yeah, William Cooper talks a lot about aliens and whatnot, and he spoke about one of these specific sort of US radar projects where they was designing these super strong radar transmitters that there was beaming at UFOs, and there was bringing them down. UFOs.
Right, yes, I remember it now. Yeah.
And essentially, they captured several live extraterrestrials called EBs, they'd call them, extraterrestrial biological entities. And one of them, literally, and he's got the manifest there of the people who worked on this project, and there was actually 2 botanists on the crew. And he says the reason why they had botanists on the crew is because one of these specific EBs that they actually captured didn't actually eat food. They actually photosynthesized sunlight for energy. So that's why they had these 2 botanists on the crew listed as botanists on this radar program, essentially, which was really strange. And he said this specific extraterrestrial biological entity, I'm going to call him alien from now on, could actually like phase shift through solid walls. So they had to build a Faraday cage around him so he couldn't just literally phase through. And this alien demanded to be referred to as His Omnipotent Highness Krill. Have you ever heard of this?
Nope.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. You're now jogging me memories and everything, and it's like, yeah. Carry on, because you're literally almost saying it how he was explaining it to them, but you shortened like the 4 or 5 hours and the other videos he does into a quick condensed can, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. Just a quick little rundown of the of the
synopsis,
points he makes. Yeah. And this is the same speech where he talks about the cattle mutilations and how, you know, they take the specific parts of them where they do study for pollution and whatnot. But he said, you know, in some of these craft that they brought down, one of the most worrying parts was they weren't just finding aliens in there, they was finding human body parts as well. So it is believed that, you know, they're abducting people and experimenting on them as well, with the permission of the US government, you know. So there must be some sort of agreement in place if William Cooper's to be believed, because...
They was meant to share the technology, weren't they? For everything we let them do, that's how we got our bulletproof Kevlar and laser technology and all some of the Teflons and stuff like that from, and all that kind of thing, and a few more science and technical stuff.
Yeah, and there was actually another incident as well he was talking about where I believe it was President Kennedy. He needed... the official story was he needed an emergency dental procedure, but he ended up going to Groom Lake, flown into Groom Lake to have some dental operation, but apparently that was just, you know, in secret to meet up with some of these entities basically from other planets to potentially hash out a deal for what there was allowed and not allowed to do in exchange for the technologies, like you were just saying. So, yeah, I think what William Cooper was saying, I mean, he had a long sort of storied career with the military, and one of his major roles in the military, it handled like top secret communications and whatnot, sworn to secrecy, and in the Navy, he spoke openly about what he saw when he was out at sea. And he said he was on the deck of the boat, and he said about 30 of his crewmen all saw this as well. About a mile off in the distance, the sea opened up, Like, literally, you could see it, like a whirlpool began, and the sea opened up, and the massive craft came out and hovered there for about a minute. Everyone was watching it, and then it went straight up in the sky. And as soon as they got back to the harbour, literally, there was guys waiting there in suits, literally to sign a contract saying, you know, you're never allowed to talk about any of this, you know, and you didn't see anything, basically. Nothing happened that day, which is something I think happens all the time for, you know, military members and everything who see these things. And I think that all falls under, you know, the Majestic 12 and Project Blue Book, essentially, to quash any sort of alien sightings and whatnot to the general public from people who would be deemed extremely credible, like their own servicemen and women, basically. EBRFPV chips in. I'm off, getting to bed. Thanks for another superb stream, guys. Later. My pleasure, mate. No worries at all. Thank you for dropping in. Much appreciated. It's always good to see you. So, yeah, what's the thoughts so far? I mean, we're going off on loads of different tangents here. Started off with Chupacabra, and now we're on to aliens. This is where the stream usually goes. But I don't mind. It's a free-flowing conversation. What's your thoughts, Kieran? Let's have it, mate.
Yeah, definitely, mate, on this one. You know what I mean? It's, yeah, it's got to be, it's got to in it. You know what I mean?
Okay, and William Cooper said, you know, while he was serving in Vietnam, you see, and he said, essentially, during the Vietnam War, there was a lot of unexplained lights in the sky that, you know, very bright, very fast, you know, your typical sort of UFO type thing where it'd be large discs, large triangles, multiple lights, moving at insane speeds, ascending, descending, 90-degree turns at what you could only, you know, be like Mach 5 or above, ridiculous speeds. And he was told over the radio, if he gets any of them communications saying we're seeing these weird lights, whatever, and he was meant to relay that information on, but he was told, don't refer to them as UFOs or extraterrestrial crafts or anything, just call it enemy helicopter activity. Now, it was well known that the Viet Cong did not have helicopters, right?
Yeah, that's right.
So in any of these sort of transmissions that you hear from Vietnam, and you ever hear we've got enemy helicopter activity, what they was actually referring to was these lights that seemed to be all over the place during Vietnam War, which also seems very strange, because, I mean, if you think, say if we was observing, right, and this is the point I always try and make, right, when people think, oh, no, aliens, if they exist, they won't be bothered with us or anything like that. If people had the ability to travel through space at will, right, and they stumbled across another civilization which wouldn't be able to detect them, or even if they did, they wouldn't be able to identify them anyway, people would be doing all sorts of experiments, wouldn't they? They would not be able to help themselves. They'd be beaming them up. They'd be dissecting them. They'd be interfering. They'd be meddling. And especially if there was a conflict as well, a large-scale conflict on the surface of a planet between aliens, either numerous alien species or one species at war with itself, there'd be a lot of observations about that, wouldn't there? Which is why I think there was heightened sort of UFO activity during the Vietnam War, because if there was observing, that would be something definitely that would pique their interest, I think. So, yeah, Mark, what's your thoughts then on this so far? I know we've just covered a lot, but I mean, chip in with whatever you like.
Yeah, no, I mean, again, I'm not opposed to the whole alien existence, you know, as far as governments conspiring with them and not. I mean, that's kind of a little bit out there, but I think there's some plausibility to it. Sure. I'll go with that. I'm not an anti-alien believer, that's for sure. I think there's some it's possible.
Yeah, I've only just I've put my hat back on, and I've only just realised just how absurd it actually looks. Now I've not had it on for a while, but that's all good. I'm in it for the laugh. Just one last look at this hat. Look, I mean, that is impressive. right? You know,
That's a lot of metal. It's a lot of metal on your head, dude.
And you know what I mean? Signals go like that, boom, and then they go straight off like that. Pew, pew, gone. That's it. Not in my brain, right? Yeah, Kieran, you got anything more to add on this subject, mate? I know the alien subject is runs deep, but yeah.
Well, it just runs on his record, really. You know what I mean? Because he's had such a distinguished record, because it can be proven what he'd done for the government and everything. Yeah. He's got good rapport with scientists, with majors, generals, everything like that. Yeah. Why would he need to make a story up like this when he's got his money already? He's well known for other things, you know what I mean? So why the hell should he make this story up, really? Okay, I can understand if he wants to elaborate on a few things like Hollywood movies and that do, but if he elaborates too much, it's not going to be believed at all. It's going to make him look like a complete idiot, really, when really he's got such a credible record of a career.
Yeah, he put a lot on the line to talk about what he talked about. I'm hoping, real quick, that this is not going to play audio because I don't want to get any copyright strikes. That's good. I'm going to post a few links to William Cooper because a lot of what he talks about is very, very interesting. This is a link to his video where he talks about secret government and aliens. I'm just looking for the Behold a Pale Horse speech that he did. I'm just looking for that right now. Let me just have a quick look because I know that speech does exist. I'm just looking for that now. Yeah, it's not 4 hours 30 minutes long. It's 4 hours 40 minutes long. But here it is. I'm just putting these links in there for you to watch. This is the Behold a Pale Horse speech that he did, which ran alongside his book. Of which, when he did that book, he actually did it at, zero profit, essentially. The money for the books covered the printing of the books. I don't actually have the book, but I've read the e-book from cover to cover, and it's one of the most interesting reads you'll ever have. And like you say, because he had such a distinguished military career, because he was a professor of, deep-sea oceanography, is an intelligent man with a lot to lose, from talking about little green men, so why he'd just suddenly start doing that for no reason,
especially at that time, Steve.
Yeah, and in such great detail with documentation and great knowledge of events and what's happened and everything. Yeah, definitely very, very odd, and a man who has a lot of credibility. One more link real quick. This is to his Lansing, Michigan speech as well. There's a lot of watching for you right there. So if you haven't heard of him before, at least click the links and then put watch later or whatever. I'm not sure entirely how you do that, but I'm sure there is a way to do it. Stick a like on the videos and it's easy to go back through your like videos and find it then. Hashtag says aerial views and histories, check out Gary Bell. Okay, I'm just going to search that up real quick because if it's something interesting, like I say, I am going to bookmark it. Gary Bell. I've just searched Gary Bell. That's good. I don't know exactly the links or anything like that. Dad Random says aliens is a huge area of discussion. Alien life isn't necessarily greys or humanoids. Watch Star Trek. Roddenberry was ahead of his time. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, very much ahead of his time. And now, I always wondered on Star Trek, right? I thought to myself, why do all the alien species, or the vast majority of them, they've all got 2 arms, 2 legs, 2 eyes, and they all look very, very similar to humans. Sometimes there's like a forehead ridge, or they've got pointy ears, or there's one slight difference. That's it. Otherwise you'd call them humans. Like Vulcans have the ears, don't they? Klingons have the head ridge, and they've got like superior strength, and they're like a slightly sort of tan colour, aren't they? But essentially that was they covered that in an episode of Star Trek. and essentially it was to do with a race that they call the Progenitors. Did you know about any of this?
No, not to that detail.
Yeah, way back in the distant past, an alien race actually went across the galaxy and seeded life on loads of planets. So pretty much all the alien species in Star Trek do have a common ancestor, essentially. That's why they've all evolved in quite a similar way, which also ties in very well with saving the costume department and the makeup department a whole lot of money.
True.
You know, and on CGI effects and that, because we've got a new alien race to introduce. What we're going to do? Oh, we'll put 2 extra little holes above the nose or something like that. You know, yeah, definitely very, very odd. So we've been running now for 2 hours 20 minutes. I'm gonna give it a few more minutes, and now I'm going to end the stream. Essentially, I'm just going to say bye to everybody and just round off with a couple of closing thoughts and whatnot. So everybody who's still in, thank you very much for sticking around and joining us and everything. Drone Obsessed, how are you? I hope you're doing well. He says, I thought you didn't come on tonight until later. Yeah, every Sunday night I'm on at 10 p.m. UK time and 5 p.m. Eastern time. So I say it for both of them time zones because they're 2 very common ones for the audience that comes in to watch these. And obviously you do have to adjust if you're not in them time zones for the time of the stream, which is all good. Drone Obsessed Jerry, I'm doing well. I feel bad I missed. That's fine. Thank you very much for joining us. You know, feel free to come back and watch the stream through, because I think it's been another very, very interesting one. And I mean, I've still got tons of tabs open to talk about stuff, but essentially the stream is going on, and I do try and keep to about 2 or 3 hours. Otherwise I get a bit burnt out, you know, and I'd rather do a slightly shorter stream and not burn out and keep it interesting and flowing, rather than just keep droning on and sort of lose sight of the objectives, if you know what I mean.
Bad pun there, man. Bad pun.
Yeah. Well, I'd rather keep them fairly sort of short and sweet, you know. Yeah, Interactive DNA says, is that blades on top of your hat? Yes, it is. I'll show you up close. That is actually Mavic Pro Platinum propellers. Yeah. Which I don't use on my Mavic anymore because I don't like them. I prefer the standard propellers on my Platinum. So that's cool. Dad Random says, why I can't discount the idea of aliens. I recall an episode where an energy source was an alien. Yes, I think that episode was Next Generation, and the episode was called Crystalline Entity, I believe, where it was a silicon-based life form, this crystal, and they found a way of translating it. And one of the funniest things I've ever heard on a TV show was when Picard was questioning it, and because it kept sort of interfering with the ship's systems, and the alien crystal just turned around and went, "Shut up, you ugly bag of mostly water."
Yeah,
which I found
think that was actually that might have been the pilot too. I think that crystalline entity was in the pilot episode of that series too.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, but extremely entertaining. And I mean, whenever anybody's getting on my nerves and doing whatever, I always go back to that quote. You know,
mostly bag of water. Yeah, I remember that.
Shut up, you shut up, you ugly bag of mostly water. You know, Picard's face was just priceless. You know. Yeah, Interactive DNA says, my father did see a UFO back in the 1930s. Yeah, well, I don't discount anybody seeing UFOs because, I mean, me and my missus once saw what would be considered a UFO, to be fair. I've also took pictures in the past where I've not actually noticed them with my eyes, but when I've looked back at the photos, there's been something very odd there. My friend had a very good digital camera with optical zoom, and he used to take really close-up pictures of the moon, and in a few of his pictures, you can see discs that cast shadows on the surface of the moon, you know, that are definitely not on the surface, but they're above it. So I don't discount any sort of sightings or anything. Now, I'm going to try and find a way of getting potentially a copyright-free version of... I can't remember the name of the flight. It was a NASA flight that they did to test out one of the new cameras they'd brought out, which essentially captures light very, very close to pure ultraviolet, and essentially they went up and they deployed a tether from the craft, and this tether started off like about the length of the ship, and it spread out into a bar that was 7 kilometers long. But as it was actually spreading out, it broke, right? And when they put the ultraviolet camera on, literally, I'm not kidding, you can see thousands and thousands of these what look like pineapple rings that are glowing, and they're popping in, they're popping out, and it's like a fish tank in space with all these different crafts that they're picking up. And that was live on TV. I'm going to see if I can find that right now to post a link to you. NASA tether footage. Oh, that might be it. Yep. Oh, I found a link to it. Look at that. Yeah. I found the link. I'm gonna put this in the chat real quick for you to have a quick look at, right? Ivy Areno, I hope I've pronounced your name right. Nice to see you. I hope you're doing well. We are rounding up in about 5 minutes, I think. 1 second. That's cool. I've just posted a link into the chat, right? Mark, are you able to look at that real quick?
Yeah, I can.
Yeah, skip through to about the 2-minute mark and then start watching that. From about 2 minutes is when they turn on the camera that goes close to the ultraviolet. And that thing in the distance is the tether, right, which stretches out to 7 kilometers long. So whatever
2 minutes you said?
What's that?
You said 2 minutes in?
About 2 minutes, yeah, is when they put the ultraviolet camera on. Up until then, it's the tether actually deploying and stretching out.
Okay, I got it there. I'm watching.
Yep. Now, what do you think all them are in that footage?
It looks like a matchstick in the space with a bunch of things going around it.
Yeah. Now, bear in mind, like I say, that tether's 7 kilometers long. And, yeah, them things are passing in front and behind it. You can very...
They're quite big, I take it.
Yeah. Have you seen that footage before, Kieran? I've
never seen this, yeah.
STS-75.
Because I can't look on here because also cut this call and everything like that from both
That's
of them.
all right. Well, what I'll do is after this stream, I'll send you the link on Facebook for you to watch, mate.
This is what I'm saying, Steve. I think I've seen it in that, and then the craft and everything, what they are flying around it. And when you get the length of what it is and the size of the craft, they've got to be quite big.
Yeah.
So that long stick-looking thing is a tether?
Is a tether, yeah, which stretched out to 7 kilometers long.
And it originates from where?
From the craft. They deployed it, and it's like telescopic.
Their craft or an alien craft?
No, from the actual NASA craft.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, wow, okay.
Yeah. But, I mean, say it... we'll go to 5 minutes 25, say. There's a nice zoom-out shot, and it looks like a fish tank of all them weird crafts in space. How weird is that?
That is weird.
Yeah. And I mean, these things are moving fast, they change direction, and you can see them materialize and dematerialize as well. So, yeah, that is very odd, and I'm surprised you've never seen that footage before, mate.
No, I've never seen it.
And that is direct camera feed from the NASA mission as well, which I believe was live when they was doing it. Yeah, so I don't think they was expecting to find that. Yeah. Yeah. What's that? Yeah. Ivy Areno. Yeah. It's all right, Steve. It's not really my name, so I'll replace it. Celeron is frozen. Did a reptile get him? Because he ain't wearing a tinfoil hat. Oh, Kieran. Oh, yeah, Kieran, sorry. Yeah. Yeah, his name's Kieran. I know it might be hard to see on the stream. That's cool. Yeah, it does look a bit like Celeron, but that's fine. Ivy Reno, that's really my spaceship. I orbed light years from Saturn. Oh, I don't bloody know. Yeah, shame Steve from Aerial Views makes me do it. Okie dokie.
She was commenting on my hat.
Yeah, that's cool. Is that your partner, is it?
No, I don't know. She just came in. I think it's funny.
Oh, okay.
She made a comment that she asked me how long it took me to make the hat. And I said it was about 45 minutes or so, but I actually have time-lapse footage of it just for fun.
Oh, nice. What, you're going to be uploading that?
I don't know yet. I was trying to get it edited, but I ran out of time before I could show you. But
yeah.
I could show it to you.
It's
I think
all
it'd be funny.
Well, do you know when I guested on your stream the other night, essentially, and we was talking about the tinfoil advert, weren't we?
Mm-hmm.
For the next tinfoil hat stream, I do start at 10 UK time, 5 Eastern time. Try and get in for about 9:45 or 5:45 Eastern time, because I'm going to actually record a series of skits through the week, which are sort of mocked up adverts for my own brand of tinfoil, which I'm going to call Wonderfoil, because my nickname's Steve Wonders, and I've got a load of ideas for sort of mocked up adverts. So it should be real fun, and this is what we was talking about when I was a guest on your stream the other night, mate. So and we was in stitches, weren't we?
Oh my God, there's so many foil innuendos going on. In fact, I hate to admit this, I have a few ideas myself, and I'm trying to figure out how I can pull it off and actually do a full-blown 3-minute commercial on it.
I've been trying to think of a way of actually getting like in a dark room and silhouetting my face, and then sort of putting a voice changer on,
Yeah, exactly.
For like, for some sort of like, like happy customer, but basically don't want to be revealed on camera, Yeah, I think that'd be really fun. So, like I say, yeah, next Sunday we're at it again. And like I say, there's loads of conspiracy theories yet to go. It's still going to keep carrying on week by week with different guests, different conspiracy theories. We love doing it. So, yeah, everybody who's been in with us for so long, thank you very much. Mark, would you like to say your goodbyes real quick, mate?
Yeah, I appreciate everybody coming in. If you haven't hit the like button, please do so. It's a lot of fun, and Steve has cursed me with this foil hat thing. I already have to think about what I'm doing next week. And Ivy, if you're listening, you've inspired me. I will upload the video on the making of it. Of course, I got to poke fun at Steve at the same time. It's his fault.
Yeah.
But I'll do it again next week. I just have to start thinking about what I'm going to do now. So, yes. But I appreciate everybody coming in. Thank you very much.
Yeah, no worries. Ivy, I've just thrown you a blue wrench for next time you're in. Much appreciated. Thanks to everybody who joined us. Kieran, do you want to say some last goodbyes, mate, before I round the stream off?
Yeah, a big shout out to all the panel and Steve and all the crew. Big shout out to everybody that's popped in tonight. Don't forget to smash the bell, smash the lights, go check our channels and all that. I'll try and get back to everyone I can. But yeah, thank you for Steve for having us in after I've been out on a 14-hour day and a 12-hour explore.
My pleasure, mate. My pleasure. Yeah.
Man,
that's so cool. Now, before everybody goes, how many people? We've got 9 people in, but I'm sure one of them's Centroid, possibly. I'm just looking for a stream to raid, and I think Canadian Drone Hub would be a good one.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
I'd rather go there, mate.
Most definitely. So I'm going to put the link to them in the chat. So.
And what we calling the raid?
I don't know. Just you know, go over there and just put Aerial Views Raid or Tinfoil Hat Raid or something like that.
Hashtag conspiracy.
Yeah.
That's too much. It's got to be tinfoil, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. Foil raid. Hashtag foil raid.
Tinfoil Raid. There we go. Please go over there. Show your support to Roger and whatnot. And I'm going to catch you all again on Wednesday if you want to join us. Usual time, 10 p.m. UK, 5 p.m. Eastern. I know I keep saying that, but that is the times I stream. And sometimes I'll do other streams outside of that, depending on current events and if I find anything that I really want to show you guys. That's all good. So I do impromptu ones, but always Wednesday nights, always Sunday nights, okay? So, yeah, thank you, everybody, for joining us. Thank you so much. You know, I can't say this enough. Get working on your tinfoil hats, you know, next week. You know, I want to see some pictures, whether it's rudimentary or elaborate. And I'll catch you all again real soon. Like I say, thank you. Much love. And we're now off over to Canadian Drone Hub, okay? So make sure you let him know that he's been raided by the Tinfoil Hat crew. And I'll catch you over there in about 5 minutes, okay? Thank you, everybody. You guys want to say bye real quick?
Take care, everybody. Thanks again.
Cheers, guys. Have a good night. Bye-bye.